Welcome. We're live. It is Friday, finally again, May the 8th, 2020, and welcome to the Stunthangar Hangouts, where control liners and RC guys and aero modelers from all over get together and talk about aero modeling and whatever else you like to mess around with and play with screwdrivers and hammers in your shop. And we'll hang out till about midnight or so, or later, being Friday night, sometimes the diehards go on into the wee hours of the morning. And the link will be posted momentarily in the At the Bench thread in the Stunthanger control line forums at stunthanger.com. If you go to the main forum page, where you normally go to the open forums and scroll down a couple of sections lower, you'll see a live streams area, and that is a thread called At the Bench. That's where I post tonight's link. And as soon as I get through with my introduction here, I'll click it up. So give me about 15 or 20 seconds, and that'll be ready for you to click on to come in and join us live with your microphone and camera. If you prefer to come without a mic and a camera, just go to the YouTube Stunthanger channel, and then you can watch it with a live text chat box, and you can type in your thoughts, your answers, your questions, your opinions, or whatever else you bring to the party. Everybody's welcome. Just keep it family friendly, family room friendly, and we'll have a good time. So let's see. Let me go over here and post up the link for you people that are pawing at the gate. If you give me 3, 2, 1, 0 ignition, there it is. Okay, the link is now posted in the At the Bench thread. You can come in and join us, and we can begin our conversations. It looks like David Phelps is already in the YouTube side. Welcome, David, our RDRU Raleigh Durham connection, and I hope y'all are able to have your fun fly in July, I think it is. I actually just read about it a few minutes ago on our club, MCLS, our website, and I forgot the date. I was going to announce it, but I can't remember it now. But anyway, it's this summer. Hopefully everything will be back open by then. Things are opening up slowly as we speak, and I guess in about 14 days we'll find out if that was the right thing to do or not. So hang on and hope. That's all I got to say. And this is the no news is good news zone. So we try to stay away from hot topics, but you can't help it sometimes. And well, good evening. Who have we got here?
I'm trying to figure this out.
Okay. Well, it says guest. First thing you need to do is, are you on a computer or a tablet
There
or
we
a
go.
telephone?
I just turned this down. Hold on.
Okay.
Whoops. Where'd it go?
Take your time. You're the only one in here with me, so no rush.
All right.
You got a
Where?
good signal. I can tell you got a good signal. And your microphone just went mute. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Well, while he gets that figured out, um, if you go to the At the Bench thread, you can come in and visit us. And if you have any kind of a problems getting in, sometimes if you've got a problem with bandwidth, then you can turn your camera down using those 3 dots at the bottom right of the screen. Our current guest, who hadn't put his name in yet, but our current guest has good bandwidth. So you got a green signal bar. But if you do have bad bandwidth, Peter Nevi, okay, great. That's how you do that.
That we work.
Oh, welcome, Peter. Are
Welcome.
you a long time watcher? Is this first time you've
Oh
This is
no,
for
I haven't been on for quite a while. But
okay.
my work gets involved, gets in the way of visiting Stunthangar.
Yeah, well, there's always the reruns. You just don't get to come in live. That's what most of our crowd actually is. I think 99% of our viewers are rerun watchers, and they're all on my website. If you not website, but my YouTube site called Rusty K, and the link to the reruns is in the comments underneath the video if you watch it on YouTube. So anyway, welcome to the show, and how are you doing tonight?
Okay, well we're doing well.
Everybody, friends and family, healthy and feeling okay?
Yes. Somehow because we're pretty much my job has me working at home, so I've been doing that since geez, March.
Yeah, you're being spied upon through the glass door behind you.
Yeah, that's the wife.
Okay, I'll wave at her.
It's
Busted.
one of the modeling people. One of the modeling people.
Hey, Tom Ramel, how are you?
Usually when I have conferences on, it's people at work, but it's kind of late for that.
Yeah.
Hi,
Well,
Rusty.
Tom Ramel just came in with us. Hey, Tom, how are you this
I'm
Friday
good.
night?
I printed this plan for the Navigator out on Monday, and I've been working on building the wing. So I got the wing built.
Excellent.
This is
All right.
enlarged version. This is 67-inch wing. Right now, without the covering, it weighs 7.6 ounces.
Those gussets right there on your number 2 or number 3, whichever it is, ribs. Is that for the landing gear support? Is that what those are?
No, there's just to give it some lateral support.
Oh, you got some dihedral that
Also
starts
where
right
the
there.
dihedral is.
Yeah. Okay.
These supports, these plywood braces are for that dihedral brace.
Yeah.
So
Excellent. Well, you bet you're doing a pretty good bit of work then. So.
I wondered if Don McGovern, he's the one that designed this model, if he was a free flight guy, because I don't know, a lot of the construction is similar to free flight.
Really?
I did make a few changes. I added some vertical grain web between the two spars to add some strength, at least part way out from the center section. But other than that, it's built to the plan, the enlarged plan.
Yeah, good. And Fred just joined us. Hey, Fred, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Rusty, how are you?
I'm good. Just getting started. Trying to get in the groove here. We got Peter Nevaeh, Tom Ramel, and you so far as our live visitors.
Hi, guys. Working on the, sorry about the pink.
Pinky.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
It's a foam wing.
All right.
Feels like it's coming out pretty light. I haven't weighed it yet. I guess I got to scale it.
That's bigger than, is that a 15 size or is that a half A?
No, it's I think the wingspan, hang on, I got the plans right here. 430 square inches.
Oh, that's bigger than I thought. That's probably a 15 or even a 35 or
I'm going to put a 35 in it, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's the one from the courthouse.
25 would probably like a FP or LA 25, something like that. Anywhere you can put a Fox 35, you can usually put a LA or a FP 25.
I'm going to try the Fox 35, see how it goes.
Yeah.
I wasn't even going to build it, and then next thing I know, I got just stuff going on it, and it's almost done.
Oh, hey, there's Kilroy Sinclair.
Yeah.
Or he'd be Gary if you lower your camera.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you
How you doing tonight?
Good.
Excellent.
How's everybody doing there?
About as good as we're going to get for a while, I guess. We'll see. Things are starting to open back up around here, so I guess in about 14 days we'll know if it was the right thing to do or not. Back up around here, so I think that's your YouTube feed echoing, Bill, or whoever it was turned it off. So Bill,
I had two sessions going at once, so
yeah,
got that fixed.
I love how your head is floating in the blackness, like out in space. That is too cool. Hey, Trey. Man, y'all were crashing the gates tonight. Welcome, everybody. Trey just came in. Well, he did a second ago. Where'd he go? He came and went. How was your week, Bill? Did you do any flying or anything fun?
Yeah, I flew my electric control line, and it went pretty good. And I'm thinking about, I've got that half a Viper. Well, first I was going to put a TD in it, and then I was thinking about electric systems, and I was looking at, RMS distribution. It's like they call it an 061 system, and
yeah.
But gal, they're trying to use a 3-cell 1300 milliamp battery. Seems like a whole lot of weight for a half-A plane. And the Brodek one uses a 2-cell. But the other thing with the RMS, that's what I have on my plane, the 15 size. It has what they call a KR governor.
Yeah, that's Keith Renicle from South Africa.
Yeah. Is that a real good thing to have?
I'm not the one to ask about that. I know Keith's been making them for a long time, but there are others too. And I won't venture into it, but I saw Trey a minute ago. He could tell you his opinions on it, and then and some of our other guys know more about electric. I know nothing about electric except for what I've picked up from you guys.
Sure.
What's a good weight for a ringmaster? Does anybody have an idea? Like a 35 size.
A good weight for a ringmaster? I don't know. I would guess probably right around or even under 30 ounces. I've never had a ringmaster except for a micro ringmaster, but it looks to me like about a 28 or 30 ounce size plane.
All right. Yeah, I have two in the garage, and one of them was that old one from the 70s that was a guy that passed away in our club. He gave it to me, or his widow, and I rebuilt it. I ground it all down and everything. And I did as much as it was the old style Sterling one with the solid leading edge and all that, so they're heavy. And I did as much as I could.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sterling would be heavy.
But it weighs about 32, ready to go. Seems
Okay,
a
well, that's not too bad. A modern laser cut one would probably be closer to 28 or so.
Okay.
But yeah, that's well within the range of a FP25 or LA25 or a Fox 35.
Yeah, I have a Fox in it. I mean, with the engine powered it fine. It seems a little heavy, and I was disappointed in how much it came out, even though I tried. Like, and the wingtips are all solid, so I did a lot of weight. I lightened the wingtips up, and
yeah,
edge especially. That thing is beefy. You could use it for baseball, and I ground like
yeah.
I ground out the between the ribs. I kind of curved it, and whatever.
Okay, well that might help.
And
Yeah,
then
I was
this
about
one,
to say that lead edge stick on the Sterling kid beat somebody to death with that thing.
but this one I hollowed out the back of. I don't know if you can see it, the back of it, and then I covered it with fabric. And then in here, so
Yeah,
this feels pretty light. I don't know what I mean.
you just don't want it to fork or waggle when it's flying. Sometimes, if you thin out too much back there, they'll get a little less stiff than you want, and the stab and the wing will kind of flex and relate to each other. Hey, John.
What I'm thinking
How you
about the
doing?
Ringmaster, it's not a really competitive plane. It's more of a trainer. So
It's
I
a
won't worry
sport
too much
plane, yeah.
about the weight.
Yeah, it's for fun flying,
Yeah, it's just
unless
for
you're
fun flying. So why
Joe
worry about
Gilbert.
the weight? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Now, if you build like a high-end something, then you really worry about the weight because it's a high-end machine and you want to get the best out of it. So other than that, the Ringmaster,
same thing with
yeah.
same thing with the fuselage flex. It's not that big a deal if you're just sporting around.
Yeah. And another thing I want to say about that is once you make holes in a fuselage, you weaken the fuselage, and a weak fuselage might create too much vibration, and a nose that's not solid is going to give you a bad motor run. So if you expect a bad motor, if you get a bad motor run, you just cannot, no matter what you do, it's just a bad motor run. It's probably that's why.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
The hollow in the
Well,
fuselage?
Yes, I'm questioning that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing about profiles. If that fuselage isn't stiff enough, then you'll never get it needled right, and it'll be just quirky to work with. Hard to get two runs that fly the same way. But put fight and see, and live and learn. So
Well, that's what I do. I just experiment. So, I'm not
yeah,
anyway.
it's a fun flying. We get a little too wrapped up in stuff in competitive, or I can't say too wrapped up because it matters, but you have to worry about a lot more stuff, and a lot of times we tend to get carried away with it when we're just talking about things that are meant for fun rather than contest.
All of it. Carbon veil solves a multitude of sins.
Carbon veil.
That's
I don't.
Peter.
Yeah.
I don't know what his question was.
Okay.
I've never used carbon so much of anywhere except on flap.
I'm trying to think if this is the box.
I've got a junior ringmaster kit. God, that's some heavy wood in there.
Yeah, that's it. That's the stuff. It's it's basically carbon fiber veil. And some of the newer kits.
I've never had junior yet.
And some of the newer kits, you sandwich this between the plywood and your balsa. So it's just basically, it's almost like tissue except it's carbon fiber. It comes in a roll.
Is that veil or has some kind of direction?
It's got a non-directional weave to it, and when you fill it with epoxy, it had some stiffness in between there.
Oh yeah, as a matter of fact, Bodak's Vector 40 kit comes with a couple of sheets to it, and then when you put that together, they suggest that you put that between the plywood doubler and the balsa, and it makes it a really thick structure. Way stronger than the plywood doubler.
Carbon veil doesn't have really that much structural strength. Carbon veil is like.
Trey, and you use some kind of a carbon product that's got a peel-off adhesive backing to it, don't you, for stiffening things up? Is that you that was talking about that? it comes on you cut a strip of it and peel the backing off and stick it down. Do you know what I'm talking about? But
No,
it's got a regular weave, a square
no.
weave to it.
Here's this is what I'm using.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
is unidirectional. Has a little bit of a binder inside of it, but this is pretty strong. It's a lot stronger than any veil you're gonna put in there. So if you put one
Yeah.
like this and maybe another layer with a perpendicular to this one, in between
Yeah.
those two pieces of balsa, that's gonna give it some rigidity.
Yep. And yeah, you don't even need
Yeah.
the plywood at that point.
Oh, Peter, by the way, if somebody's showing us something and you want to see their picture enlarged to full screen, just click on their little thumbnail picture and it'll take up the screen so you can see it. And then when you're through looking at it, click on it again and it'll go back down to the normal size.
All right. Any rate, I don't know if anybody can see it backwards, of course, but the catalog is called Fiber GLAST. You can do a Google
Yeah.
search. You can get their entire catalog of products.
Oh, okay. Hey, Trey,
Yeah,
hey, Trey, you mind muting your mic while you're saying? Is that
I'm
you,
sorry.
Sandon?
Yeah,
That's okay. It's real loud. So.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
I'm about 15 ounces with the airframe, but without the tail on it.
Which one is you're at 15 ounces with a ringmaster? Is that what you're talking about?
Where it's at right now, but that's without all the parts. I gotta get
Yeah.
the rotor and the tail, the elevator, and then the engine. So this one will probably come out 28, 29.
So what kind of fuel tank are you going to feed that Fox with?
I have this one here, but it's an old Perfect tank. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
It's really heavy.
Yeah. Has it been used before?
Yeah. Basically, this guy's estate. I got most of his stuff, and I got a lot of stuff that stuff probably older than I am. And some of it's good and some of it's junk, but this looks like it's usable.
Yeah, fill it up with some kind of solvent. I use brake parts cleaner and then, clamp off all the holes and let it soak overnight and give it a good shake the next day and keep fletching it out until it runs clean. It might be green when it first starts coming out of there. Or you can do it with fuel, but I like to use brake parts cleaner. It's pretty aggressive on that green
Brake
gum.
cleaner, yeah. Okay.
That's what I use.
You're an old hot rodder, right?
Say what? Yeah.
You're an old hot rodder, aren't you?
Yeah.
I got a 69 Chevelle out in the back.
Oh man, yeah. I inherited my dad's 69 Chevelle SS. So when it was 3 years old, he passed away, and I was about 16. And I'll tell you what, that Chevelle SS 396 is way too much car for a 16-year-old.
Oh, I bet.
But I had fun with it.
No, they're
Before that, huh?
What color was it?
When I got it, it was white, but I ended up painting it blue and then painting the rally stripes on the trunk lid and the humps on the hood. I painted them white, so blue with white stripes.
Nice.
It had a black vinyl roof, and I stripped it off and painted it too.
Yeah, mine's I got a picture of it somewhere. See if I can show it to you.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I had a 1970 with the 400, with the 454 with it. Then I had 1967 442.
Oh, really? Yeah, that was a not. That was a serious hot rod.
Hold on, let me see.
People
Also,
don't give Oldsmobile enough credit, but they pioneered some of the muscle engines. Some they put some serious horsepower on the street.
where is it? Where is
We
it?
got a lot of hot rodders. We got a lot of hot rodders in our hobby.
Okay, how do you share your screen? Oh, here we go.
First, you find the picture you want to show and go ahead and click it open, and then just leave it up, and then come back here and go to the bottom left of the screen if you're on a computer,
Yeah.
and click the little monitor with the arrow in it, and you'll get a dialog box and make the
Okay, I
choices
got it.
of how you want to show it.
Nice.
That's the original. I repainted it, but that's the color of it. Believe it or not, it's called
Okay, I'm
orange.
sorry. That's my car, except orange.
Yeah,
That's
it, baby. Except mine was blue, same wheels and everything.
it's out.
Mine had F14 wheels on it. I always wished. And which 396 did you have in it?
350 horse.
There were three choices: a 325, a 350.
Yeah,
And you know, they underrated their hot rods back then. Most of them put out significantly more than what was listed. So if it said 350, it was probably closer to 400.
well, they were before
say
what, like
Chevy
1970. They did the
Yeah.
gross ratings, and then they changed the net because of the insurance. So I think
That's
Like-
right.
the 70 SS 454, what the LS6, they rated that at 450. I think that was closer to almost 500. I think it was up there.
I'm sure it was, yeah. But even that they changed the type of what rating formula. They also they softballed it anyway. I think,
Yeah.
because they didn't want people to know exactly how high that horsepower really was.
I have a
And I
350
think that was.
I had dynoed. I don't know if I have the dyno on here somewhere.
I never did have mine dynoed, but it had the 350 horse setup.
See, here's the car.
Mine had a turbo 400 too. I always wished it had a Muncie 4-speed.
This is you know,
I don't know if anybody sees that. That's the 442. And that was me many, many years ago.
the 68.
That's a 67.
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh, yeah, that is.
What was that? That was probably a 400, right? Oldsmobile 400.
That was
I forgot what.
400 cubic inch, 400 cubic inch V8.
Yeah.
Now, how can I stop? Okay, can't. All right.
See, this is my car. Okay, so this is it when I like in the mid 80s in the top. And then that's after I took it apart and redid it on the bottom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's so much better with that roof.
Yep, you got to put the white. You got to put the white racing stripes on it.
Get as mucked up as some of them do. They can look pretty bad. Yeah, the humps on my hood were what I painted white. I like that color scheme. But and I always wanted an orange car. When I finally got one, when I bought a '69 Camaro later in life, and it had a 350 and orange, cheap orange paint job.
Yeah. There's a when I dropped my kids off to school. Well, I haven't been doing it in a while, but there's a '69 Camaro in this guy's yard. You ever see that They called it abandoned muscle cars. You can, like Hemmings puts calendars out and stuff. It's like old muscle cars that are laying in fields, rotting away, and it actually almost looks like art. Anyway, this guy's got a '69 Camaro. It could have been it's a beautiful car. It's silver. You can see it had the vinyl top, a black vinyl top. It's just rotting away, sitting outside. I left him a note in his box, and it's just sitting there. And it's a real Z28, which is pretty rare. 69.
Oh, yeah.
It's
with the Z and the serial number on the engine.
Oh yeah, it's there. You can see it. It's got all the emblems. It's got the correct wheels, and but it's like literally sinking into the mud. Like it's probably all the way to the frame now in the mud. It's too bad.
It's slagged now too.
Yeah,
I watch a couple of shows on the Motor Trend channel where they resurrect old cars like that, but I'd like to have what they build, and they put new modern suspensions in them, and they drive like a 21st century machine now, and much different machine.
well, where I grew up, they modified these cars. People know about the Yanko Chevrolets.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Berger is here in our hometown.
Yeah.
By Berger was the other one.
That's in Michigan, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I got to see all them cars that they were working on and came off their special production garage and stuff when I was a kid.
There was a one in New York City called Baldwin Motion too. That also they did Camaros and I think Chevelles, but they weren't as well known as Yanko.
Oh yeah. By the way, if anybody wants to see, if hasn't seen the movie yet, Ford versus Ferrari. Great.
What? Say it again. What's it called?
Ford versus Ferrari, the movie. That's
Is it good?
Shelby versus Ferrari. That was a great movie.
I have to see it.
Yeah, I'll have to look for that. Maybe I'll catch it on Netflix or something.
I believe I think it's on it. I don't know if it's out on HBO yet, but yeah, Ford versus Ferrari. It's a story about Carroll Shelby versus Enzo Ferrari in the competition they had years back. It's a really good movie.
I'll have to check that out.
Hey, Tom Ramble,
I
you
saw it. I
trying
enjoyed
to?
I was trying to share my Camaro, but
Uh,
I don't know. Did it show up or not?
no, it started. Somebody might have seen it, but I didn't get to.
We're trying to
While Tom's trying that, let me ask you, Peter, what is your aero modeling favorite? What, are you control line, RC, or what do you like?
No,
to do?
I'm control. Oops, keep popping off of the view. No, I'm control line from the get go. I played around with radio control for a while, but initially I was initially from the greater New York City area, so we really didn't have, when I was growing up, didn't have the ability to go out and fly RC. So ultimately, I just stayed with control line all along. As a matter of fact, back up there's a Pathfinder that I started building about 3 years ago, and then my job changed, and I moved from New York down to Florida, to the West Palm Beach, and then from West Palm Beach to Tampa, where I am right now. And it's got so much hanger rash. I don't know even if I want to attempt to repair it or just start on the 2 kits that I have in the closet.
It looks like you've gotten far enough into it to where you probably ought to salvage it. Do I see broken ribs on the one of the wings? Or yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Hey Rusty, I put a link over there in the comments.
Got a big
You guys
hole.
want to watch it?
Yeah, take a look.
It's a YouTube link in the comments. If you guys want to watch it, I think it's best if you watch it off of the YouTube on your own computer, because if you try to share it here, it's probably not gonna show up pretty good.
It's pretty jumpy. Okay, I copied it and I'll paste it in my notepad. I always keep an empty notepad open while I'm on here so I can click on them later.
Yeah.
Control V, and now I got it. Okay.
Yeah. I have a Sig Magnum in the closet, and I have a Corehouse, not a Pathfinder, a Forerunner profile that are in the wings.
You have such a nice plane
let
on
me
the
try to
background
share
over there
something.
hanging on the wall. Why do you go for the other planes? I don't know.
I just happen to like foam wings. They're easy to build.
I mean, what's that plane hanging behind you on the wall?
That's what is it? Yeah, that's a built-up Pathfinder. I did pick up. I was originally gonna put this.
Here's my Magnum coming up.
Which is 46 VF, but
very nice.
Never got around to it.
I mean, that's a serious plane over there. I would build that. I mean,
Like I said, it just got so much hanger rash from getting moved twice that.
Oh,
Yeah, that's you.
Yeah, click that up. Everybody know how to click the picture to make it big. There's my Magnum. Just single click on it one time, and you can see what's happening. I've still got the handle in my hand and everything. I wish I had put the engine on top of my chest.
That's a good picture.
Yeah, I know some of you've seen that before, but that's a classic Rusty picture. So Bob Zambelli and Wayne Robinson made me put the lines back on it after I had already rolled it up and decided not to fly anymore. And I was running the lines out thinking this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea the whole time.
You should listen to your gut. Listen to your gut, man. Your gut's your second brain.
Yeah. Here we go. Hold on. And that was a few years ago, and that was my Magnum. One of the Magnums that I first built a few years ago. There's an interesting story.
Oh, that's nice.
That's an interesting.
That's a nice one.
Story behind that one. All right, let me see. How do I?
What was the box? What was the color scheme on the box like? Is that it? Is that the box color scheme?
No, not at all. The box flag, I can't. It's the box I have is kind of buried, but no, that was not the box color scheme. The box color scheme was not too much different, but it was certainly not your white, your blue, and your metallic. And basically, what that was, I had a metallic. That's all monocle, by the way.
Really, I was going to ask you that. It looks good.
It was monocoat metallic, blue, sky blue, and white. I can't remember what the metallic color is at the very back.
What kind of power plant? What kind of power plant did you have in it?
I had a Super Tiger G51 in it. And here's the deal what happened with that airplane. I had just moved to Florida, and I was going to Markham Park, which is down toward, it's in Fort Lauderdale, just not too far north of Miami. It's a little bit north of Miami. It's almost on the border between Dade and Broward counties. And they had this RC field down there. It's in Markham Park. And they have this, they have a control line circle that's got basically a short takeoff pad. At any rate, I was down there. I was by myself. I had that plane. I had another one in the back of this 1997 Mercury Capri convertible. So I drove down. I flew it around a couple of times. The damn thing pulled like a beast. I had to trim it in because when that ST-51 turned around and went from a 2 to a 4. It nearly yanked my arm socket out. I still need to trim it in, but what I did was I turned around and I packed everything back into the back seat of the car. And I had to, in order to be able to carry the airplane, I couldn't put the top up in the car. So I had the top down, the plane was sitting in, the two planes were sitting in the back seat. And what I neglected to do was put the seat belts around the airplane. So I'm traveling down I-75, heading back to the house, and I get about 2 or 3 or 4 miles down the road on I-75, and I look back and I see the Magnum's gone. It's just not in the back of the car.
Oh no.
Turned around, got on the highway, went back, turned around, came back in the other direction, and it was just balsa-wood all over I-75.
Oh, man.
The plane out of the back of the car and deposited on the roadway behind me. And that was the demise of that Sig Magnum.
Oh,
Did
what
you
a
find the
terrible
engine?
way to kill one.
Uh-oh.
It lived exactly 3.5 months after I finished it. I was able to salvage the motor though.
Oh,
good.
that's good and lucky. Yeah, a friend of mine did a similar thing with a station wagon and didn't secure it, and it flew out the back of the station wagon, but they were just driving across the grass field to another flying area when it came out. So it broke the wings, but it wasn't as destroyed as yours was.
Yeah, I was doing about 65, 70 miles an hour, and I kept, at some point I looked at the rearview mirror and said, I don't see the tail of my airplane sticking up in the rearview.
Yeah. Hey, that Pathfinder in the back, is that the Mark II or was that the LE or which one is it?
What company kits? I think RSM models. The RSM models Pathfinder kit.
That's the LE.
Yeah, but it's the
That's
LE
the
then?
LE.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the LE. But RSM's kidding it. Peter had a lot of trouble building that thing because the kit plans and instruction manual didn't explain some things.
Yeah, the plans. There's certain things that the plans don't explain. As a matter of fact, I think these are the plans here, right here.
Look on the bottom corner in the title.
Yep, that's it. Pathfinder LE.
Peter, look at the title block. Look at the title block. You'll see my name down there under the drawn by.
John Miller.
What was that?
You see John Miller's name down
If you look in the
box.
title block under the drawn by.
Okay. Big ass plan. George Green and John Miller.
John Miller, all right.
All right. You're rubbing elbows with the pros.
Yep.
Yep. Right there. Right there it says John Miller. Right there.
Very good.
AKA Santa Claus in December.
I'm sorry that thing. I'm sorry that the plane has gotten beat up because mine flies just so nice.
Oh yeah, like I said, I bought I went out and I hunted down a 45 OSVF for it, and the VF is sitting there, and I was all ready to send off to Randy I had the header. I was gonna send off Randy for a pipe, and then everybody told me, well, a 7-ounce tank is not big enough, and I said, the hell, I can't figure out how to put a bigger than a 7-ounce tank in that fuselage. And then course, it got all hanger rash.
You may have to cut it.
Yeah.
You may have
That
to cut
Magnum
into
was
the
way
leading
too
edge of the
big
wing
for
to get
me.
it bigger.
My Magnum was way too big for me. It used to just about pull my feet off the ground. Sometimes on the windy days at the, top of the hill when I would fly overhead.
Oh, yeah.
But what was really bad is it would walk me off the center of the circle, pulling out of an inside loop or an outside loop. When the wind's pushing against it really hard. Because I only weigh 125 pounds, and that plane weighed 72 ounces. I had a OS 46 FX on it.
That actually flew. Like I said, I had an ST-51 in that one, and when that thing was cut into a two cycle, like you were saying, it really nearly pulled my arm socket out. But then it wasn't trimmed. I probably after if I would have had enough time with it, I could have probably even moved the lead outs around and got it tamed down somewhat. But yeah, it was a beast.
I was just a beginner back then, and actually they presented that to me at the award ceremony after the contest. It had been built by one of the Norfolk, Virginia aero modelers, Mike Garman, and he was deceased a few years prior to that. And the club had it and thought they'd pass it on to me. And then my plan was to fix it up a little bit every time I used it, which I did. I had it looking pretty nice, and then maybe someday pass it on to some other aspiring control line stunt pilot. And unfortunately, never got to follow through with that. That made me sad. It was a long time before I could laugh at that picture. But I knew it'd be funny someday. So I took the picture out there at Fort Jackson when I wrecked it. So. Our president, Will Davis, is probably watching us from his workshop tonight if he's got a connection out there. So, hey, Will, hope you're doing well.
Rusty, you said that plane weighed 72 ounces?
Wow.
That's right.
It came in at 50 something.
You should have donated it to a fisherman. Could use it for an anchor.
Yeah, use it for a boat anchor. Actually, it flew okay, but it had been worked on and repaired, and Mike Garman had been using it as a test bed for 4-strokes, and so it had a lot of glue and patchwood in it, and that's what it weighed, 72.
Jesus Christ.
It was too much for me.
Oh, geez.
I'm more comfortable with mid-sized planes than, the 40 to 52 ounce range.
I thought
get over that, I start.
Wasn't a Magnum a 40 size airplane?
No, oh no. It's like something like 600 or 700 squares.
Yeah, it was a pretty big plane. It's the biggest plane I've ever flown.
Well, let me see something.
I think it was a 66-inch wingspan.
It came out right before the piped engines caught on, and they ran anything from like Super Tiger 46s up to 60s.
It doesn't say.
Got the box.
Oh, yeah, it's still in the box. It doesn't say how many squares. 40 to 60. Doesn't say how many squares. Oh,
Does it say what the length is? The wingspan?
Cut foam wing, blah, 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 blah. 6.5 tank, fuel tubing, 18 by 70 foot lines. It really doesn't say.
I believe it's 66.
It's 40 to 60. A wingspan is 60 inches. 700,
just 60.
60 inches, 700 squares.
That's a big airplane for a 40 size engine.
Yeah, that's probably a 50 or 60 size. Yeah, I fly my twister with a 40.
Charles, how many sets of lines are you making up?
Well, I'm just going to be making lines up until I get too tired of doing it. I got plenty of line sets I need to replace. I had 2 I made for someone else, and now I'm making them for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you must have a lot of lines. You've been doing that for 5 days.
No, I just thought I would do this instead of just sitting here, you know.
Oh.
I just have to hand it though, you know. That's a guy. I've never basically scratch built anything. My dad used to scratch build, and you didn't see that in Bob Hunt's Genesis, the flying models,
Yeah.
that issue. But in the Barnstormer section, and you see that one? That was something my dad scratch built
Yeah,
back in the day.
nice.
That's fine.
It flew
I've
like a
scratch
brick.
built a couple of half-A's. That's
Huh?
about it.
What's
I've
that?
scratch built a couple of half-A's, but that's about it.
Try
It had
it.
Fox 59 in the nose, and it flew just like it looked like a brick. As long as the airspeed was up, it actually flew. But as soon as the engine quit, the thing would drop like a brick.
You get the fuselage all done?
What's that?
I'm almost done with it. I'm gonna make some rails tonight as we are just chit chatting here and having a good time. And I'm just gonna laminate some balsa with some fiberglass and carbon fiber to make that. And I have to put. I mean, everything is done right now. This spar here is glued in place and position. All I have to do is just put some fill in the gaps with some micro balloons and epoxy and stuff like that to make the hard points. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm going to mix up some epoxy pretty soon, and I'm going to make I'm going to use the epoxy to make the rails first, and then whatever leftover I have, I'm going to mix it with micro balloons to make like a splooge and stuff like that. It's called splooge anyways. And I'm going to use that to fill in the gaps around the hard points in the where the wing attaches and where the elevator attaches.
Okay.
And after that, I'm ready to pretty much go tomorrow after I take the battery rails out. I can start putting the battery rails into the nose and on the back side of the fuselage. I'm already ready to put all the hardware back into the fuselage.
You think you're going to get it done so you can fly it this weekend or not?
Not tomorrow, but maybe Sunday if the weather permits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I hope it warms back up. It was a little chilly past couple of evenings.
Yeah, well, here in Tampa, it's like 85 degrees. And
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use some of this unidirectional, and I'm going to back it up with some fiberglass at 45 degrees bias. So I have both sets of strands from the fiberglass with the uni working together, and so it's going to stop the unis from splitting apart. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to have a layer of uni and fiberglass on one side of the balsa, and another layer of uni and fiberglass on the other side of the balsa, making like a sandwich. And the balsa is the core, the center of it. and then I'm just gonna brute force push it into a mold and then close the mold, and pretty much that's all there is to it. So I have the fiberglass here. It's like this. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use some 3M77. Actually, I can even show you if you wanna see it. I'm gonna put the fiberglass here flat on the table, and you see how it's like cut at 45 degrees, but my uni is gonna go in this direction. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna lay it here on a table. I mean, it's not exactly super flat, but it's close enough for what I need. All right.
Is that 3/4 ounce
So here you go.
fiberglass, Brian?
So there you go. So this is the fiberglass. It's gonna stay nice and flat here on top of the table. And my weapon of choice is to use some of this 3M77. Let me turn this around. I'm gonna show you what I do with it. So what you do is you go from a distance like this. Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're gonna spray your car?
Yeah, not against the car.
that's it. Very little.
Then he gets the motor.
I mean, I cannot even feel it. It's so small amount. And now I'm gonna take this and watch this.
It's such a small amount, so that's what I thought when I spray painted my garden furniture.
So what I'm doing, I'm just gonna take it and I'm just gonna lay it right on top of the fiberglass. That. Boom. And now I have this.
Okay.
See that?
Yeah.
It's a sandwich. And I can cut out of this sandwich whatever I need and use it later on. Kind of like
Is that 3/4 ounce fiberglass? Or half ounce?
This is 1.6. This is 1.6
Okay, so that's
fiberglass. That's it's a balanced fiberglass cloth, and you know, just this is exactly what I need for now. I was thinking about using 2 layers of carbon on it, but the problem with that is that would be the finished part will be a little bit thick, and I want to get the size correct. And 1 layer of this unidirectional is more than enough. I mean, I think it's more than enough, anyways. Because if you take the thickness of it, if you take the thickness of this carbon and you multiply by 4 at a minimum, and you make it out of steel, that's how strong this thing is.
So what do you gotta make for your plane right now? You're molding something up?
The rails for the battery. I have an L-shaped rail and the battery sits over there. So I need to make the rails. So
you're redoing.
I have a piece of balsa cut out already. So I'm gonna get my carbon and cut it a little bit oversized. And actually the carbon now is being held by the fiberglass. They work together. Like this.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, Rusty.
So here you go. Now I'm cutting a piece like this. And what I'm gonna do, if you put epoxy on this, on the balsa wood, it's gonna be soaked in. So the trick to it is that you put the epoxy here, then you put paper towels around it, and then you apply it to the balsa. Like that, right? And this way you use the minimum amount of epoxy. So it's gonna be, I mean, I'm not really worried about weight too much on this part because it's in the nose area. I'm on a nose weight anyway, so I don't really care much for it.
Wow.
But
So what you had to redo?
this is a great technique if you want to use some kind of combination of layers, right?
Right.
Yeah. I had another one here. This is something I've made in the past, but this is for my gliders, okay, for the fuselage. And I have 3 layers of material in here. I have a unidirectional. I have a some other material in there that's like a 0-90 degrees orientation. And what I do, I just cut these pieces, I wet them out, I put them in a mold, and it's good to go. So it's just an easy way of doing it.
So why are you having to redo the nose?
I'm not gluing the nose. I'm putting rails in it so the batteries can slide in.
Well, you took the old part of it out of it, or is this a whole new?
It's a whole new nose.
Oh, okay.
The old nose is fine, okay? It's just perfectly fine. But what I wanted to have, I want to have the battery compartment a little bit more forward. So I said if I replace the back side of the fuselage, I might as well replace the front side too while I'm at it. And that's the method to my madness, Steve.
Okay, because I know that the last one had everything molded right in for the battery.
No, not really. I had the panels in there, but the railing was separate, and it was done after the molding. After the molding took place.
Hey, Charles, where did you get your magnifying glasses? Is that Harbor Freight thing, Walmart, or what?
Yeah, that's Harbor Freight. It works good enough, but I'm sure there are better ones, better quality ones. But it works okay.
Do they have a flashlight built in? Do they have a built-in light too?
No, well, yeah, it does, but it's very cheap. But the lights, I don't use lights. I just have this lamp here that I use.
Yeah.
But it does have lights, but I'm not using them. Yeah, I'd like to replace that one actually with a better one.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where
getting older.
I work
This
with
is the mold I'm using.
I got an overhead boom lamp with magnifying glass in it, and I work with my face in it sometimes, but I'd like to be able to put those glasses on. I might look for a pair of those. I didn't think of it till I saw you using them the other night.
We all need to
there was
see
an
the
ad
best
I
we
saw.
can now.
Looks like Dennis is trying to get in. He must be having problems.
Oh yeah, I saw Dennis a few minutes ago trying to get his camera set up. It looked like he had a good signal.
Oh, there he is. Kind of see him.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my. Do you see my name on the little icon?
Yeah, it says yes.
G.
No, it says yes.
Yeah.
It just
How do I
says
change
yes.
the name?
Go to the 3 dots on the bottom right of the screen to settings, and all the way at the top it has a profile where you can put your name in. Are you following me?
So, I go to select device, invite someone. See, raise hand, toggle, enter tile view.
No, the other side of the screen, on the bottom right hand corner of the screen, the 3 dots for settings.
Yeah, I got the 3 dots, but all it's giving me is select
All the way at the
device,
top.
invite someone.
The very
All the
top
way up.
one should be your name. Above manage video.
It says profile, maybe. Yeah, it is. Steve's right. It's above where it says
My
manage
iPhone don't
video
want to
property.
cooperate.
That might have something to do with it too. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm not on my computer.
It might say profile. Mine just says Rusty, but yeah, above manage video quality, and it's got a place to put your name. It does on the computer. I don't know what it does on the iPhone. I've got an Android phone. Well, at least we already know who you are. It's not a big deal. If you see anywhere that says profile, that'll be the place.
Did you see my video, Steve?
Yeah. I bet you can't land on your flight box 2 times in a row.
What?
I bet he could.
Land on your flight box 2 times in a row.
That was last weekend, man. That was last weekend.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, I saw your video trying.
If you tried to do that, you wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, I have a hard time doing it. Yes, I agree. I agree. I have the V-mount molds here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice
So what you been doing all week,
This
Lenny?
is bad. I've been working on a bi-slab. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Oh,
that.
Len,
Yeah.
I didn't tell you something last time. I told you about the saran wrap, but you probably need to put some grease on a plug itself before you use the saran wrap. So it's gonna slide out easier.
Okay.
Because the saran wrap is like cling wrap. It likes to stick to that aluminum.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, that makes sense.
But if you have a little bit of, yeah. You know
Don't
what?
worry, we'll
Whenever
talk it
you're ready
over in
and we
great
are on a
detail
meeting
before I
this,
try it.
we can do it right in a meeting itself. Because it doesn't take much
when
time.
I get ready, I'll make sure that I have you handy.
Do it in one of these meetings.
What's that?
Do it in one of these meetings.
Well, I don't like to hold everybody else up, though. You know, I mean, we'll set up some sort of a conversation or something. Yeah, I don't want to do it during the meeting.
Yeah,
otherwise everybody else.
Just to talk, but
if
bad
hey,
have
Lynn,
to
if
put
we
up with me being here all night.
Hey, Lynn, if we ever get caught up in a long discussion of cable TV prices or something, that's when you pull it out and start showing to us.
Yeah, start molding tanks. Exactly. Hang on, I'll grab that airplane.
That looks like a bi-slab.
Yeah.
I decided to make a very bright colored bi-slab. Bright orange, two-tone orange and green.
Oh, wow,
that's
nice.
one ugly green too.
Yeah, it really looks ugly, and it looks, I don't know about ugly, but you know what? At least it'll be bright in the sky. You'll be able to see it. That's
the whole point. That's the whole point of a bi-slab.
Is that scratch?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that scratch?
Well, let me tell you.
I've never flown one, but I've been offered a chance to fly them before, but I was always afraid I would wreck them, so I didn't want to fly anybody else's.
Yeah, it doesn't fly. It doesn't fly like.
Gene Schaefer at Flushing Meadow Park. Gene Schaefer was the first time I saw anyone fly a bislab, and he put that thing all over the place.
They'll do just about anything.
Yeah, I went
to the story
Everybody's
behind
seen
this.
Shug riding. That's what Shug was flying when he rode his unicycle. Everybody's seen that.
That's good.
Haven't they? Flying the bislab on the unicycle.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, you need to look that one up.
Is that a Brodak or is that scratch bill?
Well, let me tell you, if I get a chance here, the story behind this bislab is back in 2007, which is a long time ago. I won this bislab kit at the Toronto and District Grand Championship. I won the Grand Championship and I won this bislab, and it was an ARC kit from Brodak. So I took it home. Nice. I never thought about it. I never thought about it for 2 years. And a buddy of mine called me up one night and he said, "Hey, do you still have that bislab?" And I said, "Yeah, it's down in the basement." He says, "I want to buy it off you." I said, "Well, you have a Viking kit. I want to buy it off you. So why don't we trade?" So I gave him this bislab, brand new, the kit, and he gave me his Viking. Well, I flew the Viking and enjoyed it, and I still have the Viking, actually. He had the bislab for about a year. He put it together, and he flew it twice. It crashed real bad and broke pretty badly. He took it home, threw it in the basement, never thought about it for about a year. About a year later, he phoned me up. He says, "I still got this bislab. It's still broken in the basement. I'm going to throw it out. You want it?" "Sure, I'll take it." So I took the bislab. He dropped it off. I took it home, rebuilt both wings. They've got extra spars. I don't know if you can see them on the video, but it's got extra spars in the wing where I did the repair to the upper wing. The lower wing needed an extra spar as well. And I glued it all back together. And that was back around 2011. I took it out and it was amazing. I had more fun with that bislab than I ever had with the Viking.
I couldn't figure out how you crash one of those. They fly so slow.
Oh, they're easy to crash. Don't worry. You can crash anything.
You can't wreck them, really. I mean, you can hang those.
The problem is you get too daring. The problem is you get too daring with them. And then you do something stupid and whack it in. But anyhow, I flew this airplane from 2011 right up until last year. And last year, a buddy of mine and I decided to have bislab combat. Well, that was a bad choice. To make a long story short, I crashed it really bad, broke the fuselage in a lot of places, took it home, threw it in the basement, didn't look at it for a year, and then recently when I saw the price of another one at $160 or so, I decided, hey, I think I better fix the old one. So what I did is Naomi had got an ARF kit. And what I did is I took the fuselage out of it, traced it out, and built another brand new fuselage for my old one. And this is it. I put a new fuse in it, and I'm using the old wings and the old tail.
Hey, I got mine all the way done. I put the motor in it. Went to put the prop on, and the prop hit.
Yeah, so does mine. Look, you can see where I had to sand it on the nose. See where I sanded it here?
Oh, okay.
So all I did is I put it on my disc sander out in the garage and just sanded the nose off a little bit on that side. And now I'll just touch it up with a little bit of green dope.
Oh,
okay. No
okay.
big deal.
So mine's so that's how they make them. How they make it so the damn motor don't fit in it.
It's well, the motor fits. It's just that the prop doesn't quite
Yeah, the
clear
prop
on the
won't go
on the one side. The prop won't quite clear. See, I thought I'd be smart, and what I
Just
did
make
first is
I mean, the design,
what I did first
the
is I
design's
made.
been out since, geez, 1970. So I guess the motors at the time had longer, had a longer shaft on them.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh,
so.
I don't think so.
That one's
A
designed.
Fox
My
35s haven't
35
changed much.
is 35 years old, so
I mean, the mounting
It's
bracket for the
designed
motor is
specifically
for
for a Fox 35, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, you can use other motors, but the motor plate, the metal plate that's in the front of it, it's designed for a Fox. It's drilled for a Fox.
yeah,
Fox
they
35.
must have just drilled it in the wrong place.
Well, I don't know if that they set it in the wrong place on the plan for the motor, for the actual holes. It's not. It's a little too far back. That's all. If you move it forward an eighth of an inch, it would clear. But whatever, it doesn't matter. I just sanded a little bit off the front mount and a little off the doubler on the one side. No big deal.
I wish they would have said something in the plans so that when you build it, you know, it lets you know, hey, you got to move that out a 16th of an inch or 1/8 of an inch.
Well, when I finished it the other day, I thought I'd be a smartass, and I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll make a 1/8 plywood washer to put behind the prop. Well, that was a great idea and I put sandpaper on both sides, sticky back sandpaper on both sides of the plywood washer. I used that real thick aircraft plywood, like the one with all the laminations. Only one problem. I put the plywood washer on, slid the prop on, put the washer on. Oh, no room for the nut.
Yeah.
So that didn't work. So that's when I sanded the nose off.
Okay. I guess I'll have to do that to mine then.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Just
How you
sand it
doing
off.
tonight, Rob?
It's a bislab. It's not like you're going to get Concours winner out of it.
No, I'm not too concerned about it. It's a fun
Hey, Rob,
airplane.
How you doing tonight, Rob?
Oh, doing okay.
Hey, Rob.
Sorry, I play hooky for the last week, but my dad's in the hospital and stuff. I've been dealing with family stuff, so I just got back to the workshop yesterday. Yeah,
Oh,
old age.
sorry about that. Place to have to be.
Yeah.
Is your dad going to be okay? That's an awful place to have to be right now.
It looks like it. You know, he's never going to be fully okay with the dementia and whatnot, but you know, he's holding his own. So
yeah.
Hope he hangs in until.
Sometimes dementia is not a bad thing to have.
Well, in his case, he knows he's got it, so it's not that good.
Makes
he gets
it difficult.
frustrated and mad.
No.
Yeah.
You know what? It's like I told my brother with my dad having it. He's always happy. Because if he gets pissed off about something, he can't remember it 15 minutes later anyway. So he was always in a good mood.
All right, let's get back to airplanes. I didn't mean to change the subject.
Hey, Lynn.
Yeah.
Lynn, how about that endurance record you did back in 2017?
Oh, you saw that, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw that today. That was neat.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. 3 hours and 27 minutes.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what the crazy thing is about that? 2 weeks later, I had a
What's
heart
that?
attack.
Oh. No way.
I have the
Oh, man.
Canadian control line, and I have the Canadian control line endurance record.
Wow.
3 hours and 27
That's
minutes.
awesome.
Continuous?
Yeah, continuous. Stayed in the circle for 3 hours, 27 minutes. 1 tank of fuel. Non-stop.
1 tank of fuel?
1 tank
How big
of
is
fuel.
your tank?
Oh, is it
Well,
3
what it
cans?
was it was 3 cans. That's right. Three beer cans lined up in unison in the front of the fuselage.
What kind of plane was it?
And all plumbed together. It It was a plane my buddy designed called the, it wasn't the Bumblebee, it was the other one. He had two of them. He had the Bumblebee and another one. I can't remember the name of it right now. But yeah, it was, what's that?
Did you do diesel or gas or glow?
No, glow. No, glow, and it was an LA-15.
Wow.
Yeah, good running little motor. LA-15 with a throttle. My buddy worked the throttle. He sat in the circle in the beside me. I flew while he worked the throttle.
No shot.
And the whole idea was to fly the plane as slow as possible without crashing, because that way the motor would run longer.
So, did you make it the Guinness Book of World
tedious.
Records or what?
What's that?
You get in the Guinness Book of World Records?
No, I don't think so. It's only the Canadian record. Who knows about anything else?
Oh, okay.
But apparently they've
Very
changed
impressive.
it. Now they have two classes of Canadian record now. The one is that you can use any amount of fuel in the nose of it. The other one is how far you can go on just 4 ounces of fuel. What the endurance record is for 4 ounces. Well, right now there's no record, so no one's tried to post one up to this point that I know of.
Oh.
But maybe we will one day.
It would be interesting to do.
Yeah.
You can go pretty far on 4 ounces.
Yeah, that's true. But again, it's trying to make it so that you get as much mileage out of it as you can.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought the half a Texaco competition was an interesting contest. I've never actually watched one, but that's an endurance. Of course, they all use the same fuel, the same amount of fuel, and the Texacos are all set up stock, and I guess you can, modify maybe compression and glow plugs. I don't know what those rules are all about, but it seemed like it'd be interesting to do, but you'd have to have an awfully calm area because you couldn't fly a Texaco super slow in the wind for very long.
No, that's right. Well, the day we did the record here in Canada, unfortunately, it wasn't really calm, and that made it a little tricky. I mean, it wasn't brutally windy, but it was windy enough to make it tricky. You had to sort of be I had to be on my toes the whole time. Came close to planting at one.
So, Lynn, I have a question. Then, after 3 hours and 20 minutes, did you have to go to the bathroom?
Definitely. Oh, yeah. I had to go to the bathroom after 2 hours and 20 minutes.
What was your total time? I forgot.
But
what was your total time?
3 hours, 27 minutes.
Oh,
and I don't
my
remember
goodness.
the second. 3:20.
Yeah.
We almost made 3.5 hours, not quite. And I'll tell you, I sort of laid down after. I had to have a rest for a while after that. I had to unwind. No pun intended.
Yeah.
You might. Hey, you know what you could
Did you
do?
ever? Did you ever
Go
go
ahead,
inverted
Charles.
to kind of? Did you ever go inverted to unwind to go back both directions?
No, it wasn't a stunt plane. It wasn't a stunt model. It wouldn't do that.
It wouldn't go inverted. Okay.
No,
I had to go
no,
inverted
no.
after a while. Tired.
Hey, and when you're trying to do a record, you don't want to be doing anything silly once you've been going that long.
Yeah, that's true.
You just
But I
want to
think if
keep
I was
going
doing
at that point.
I think I'd wear a pair of Depends if I wanted to do it.
Who are you trying to show, John?
What are you holding up, John?
Been collecting parts for the Vanguard. Today, the landing gear came in.
Oh, cool.
And it was unique that I found these things. They're for an RC electric ARF of some kind of an aerobatic plane.
Yeah.
What's the weight of that? What's the weight of that?
But what I needed was, because the fuselage on the Vanguard is 8 inches wide, I needed to have that. I don't know. I waited. It doesn't seem to be too bad.
Okay.
It's 8 inch aluminum, though. I'll tell you that.
Maybe you could get
but
Tryon
anyway,
to make you a carbon fiber one.
That would be nice.
A lot lighter.
I wouldn't mind having a carbon fiber one. I might try,
carbon fiber
I might try
would be
making a
heck of
mold
lot
off
lighter.
What was the price?
Oh yeah. Well, I could skeletonize it and cut in the worn truss on the side here. You know, take a lot of that material out of there. But because it's 8 inch thick, you know, it's strong enough to take it with that lots of material. But that's a lot of work. It'd probably be less work to make to use as a mold and make a carbon fiber one. At least in any case, I got the starts either for a carbon fiber one or for an aluminum one. That came in the mail today, so I was tickled to get it. The other thing I did today, you tell it's warmed up here in Utah, where I'm at, is today I put a new lawn in the front yard. And I seeded it, everything else. Yeah, I when I moved here about 2.5, 3 years ago, the place hadn't been lived in for 2 or 3 years, and the whole lawn, front and back, was just all gone to weed. So I first year I was here, I killed off all the weeds with chemical, and they grew back, and so I did it the second year, and now this year they were still there, but there weren't so many that I couldn't pull up. So we pulled them all up over the weekend and raked it all out, cleaned it all up, and so, like I say, seeded it today. Now I got to keep all the birds off of it to keep them from eating all the seed. So anyway, it's been nice here. Weather-wise, wind-wise, hasn't been bad. I had a plane. What?
You should have just planted it all in tumbleweeds. Then you wouldn't
said
have
if I had a plane that was flying, I'd have been out flying today.
Because John, you should have planted it in tumbleweeds. Then you wouldn't have had to mow. They'd have just blown away once they got up a little bit.
Have you seen what tumbleweeds look like when they're growing? They're terrible looking things. I know, because the whole backyard was full of them when I moved in here.
He's just being normal. That's all. He's just.
And they were so thick, the cat couldn't get through them.
Yeah, but they blow away. It's like you don't have to mow or anything.
I bet even Len couldn't get through them.
No, they blow away. But your neighbors don't like you. Like when you got a lawn full of dandelions this year.
Oh, I know. I got
neighbors have them.
Oh, it's terrible. That's my place. I got a brand new house. We got a brand new lawn, and this year I got about 300 dandelions, and I hand dug every one out. But my neighbor has 32,000 of them. So it's like, oh, good Lord. Just forget it. I've been digging so much, I hurt my baby finger. It's just killing me today from digging out dandelions.
What you do is you pick all them and you make dandelion wine out of that.
No, you don't.
That's what I'm going to tell him, Steve. You know, he could.
Huh?
No,
I don't. Then you could corner the market in Canada for. You could corner the Canadian market for dandelion wine.
On the Food Network, they eat dandelion greens.
When I was a kid, we picked them for an old lady that lived in the neighborhood because she always made her dandelion wine. We just go pick damn grocery sacks full of them and bring them to her house.
Good grief. So that's how you got like this.
I never drank any of it, but I guess she did.
No, I didn't think so. Yeah, I guess so.
On the Food Network, they cook or they eat dandelion greens. I think, I don't remember if it's on their salads or whatever. Yeah.
I'm not putting them in my salad. Yeah, I had Naomi's daughter tried to feed me that stuff one time. Naomi's daughter tried to feed me that stuff one time.
If you ever want to try it, be sure and don't eat the flowering part.
Yeah,
no, that's right. Just eat the
something on
leaves.
TV about dandelions, some family of planter, and they're supposed to be good for you.
Oh yeah, of course.
But
no, they might be good for me.
I've eaten the flowers on pansies before.
Oh boy, we're desperate here. We're talking about dandelions and food and
we wandered off topic. We kind of wandered off topic, didn't we?
What if you raise your hand before you talk?
Raise your hand if what?
No, nobody talk.
I didn't hear what you said.
What if you raise your hand before you talk?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got I don't know, our foreign people, foreigners like Lynn and Gerald have a horrible delay, but I don't think the rest of us do so much, except I see John's probably got the worst delay of anybody else in here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, John's keep going to red.
Mine's red.
What?
Your signal keeps going to red.
Yeah, that sound delay doesn't have anything to do with that, though, I don't think.
No, John and I are just a little delayed. Don't worry about it.
Retarded used to be the proper
Just as
term.
long as you don't say developmentally delayed.
No, not at all. Oh gosh.
We should try, as a general thing, when we need to, is raise our hand when we want to say something. It's a good idea, because we get so much lost when people are stepping on each other and nobody can tell exactly when to talk and when not to. So, think about it. Start just doing that when you start talking, and it'll make it spread. I know we got the button to push, but that's too much trouble, and it doesn't always go at the same time you push the button either. Just boom and.
So what I did here is.
You has your hand up.
John.
Hand up,
Raise your hand, Steve.
John, how much was
Tom has had his hand up for like 2 minutes.
Go ahead, Tom.
We're not listening to you, Steve. You didn't put your hand up.
How much was
I guess we need to wave it. That's what we need to do.
It doesn't matter.
This is
Because
what we need
Rusty's
to do.
saying, put your hand up. Tom has his hand up for like 2 minutes, and Rusty just keeps right on talking.
Well, I'd already started. I'm the moderator anyway. I can talk what I want to.
There you go.
All right. Oh man.
So I was trying to ask John how much his aluminum landing gear cost.
I don't remember. I think it was about $10, $14, something like that.
Oh God.
It was
bad.
It was really
That works
cheap.
pretty
I don't
good.
remember what it cost.
Well, if it
Yeah, but
had
that's
been
how
cheap, I
long-
wouldn't have bought it.
Well, it looks like
Oh,
Dennis
my
is trying to
goodness.
get on again.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Dennis?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Hey,
Okay.
that was a good find on your sandable primer.
You like that, huh?
We did a demo. Well, I did a demonstration Monday. It works great. And it
Yeah,
smells
what did we time it at?
5 minutes.
So this is what I did. I just I got the stuff wet, and then I put one on one side, one on the other side, like this. And now I'm gonna put it in a mold. But before I do that, this is the trick I was teaching Len the other day, to use the cling wrap.
Oh, now we can see Dennis.
Yeah, there he is. So you got it in white, huh, Dennis?
Yeah, I got the final.
Is that a
base coat
primary
on
forest?
and getting ready to do some trim colors,
Cool.
colors and numbers and decals.
What kind of airplane is it?
It's one of his
Hang on
own.
here a second. It's a scratch
Nice
build.
shape.
Circulus 46.
Okay. Looks nice.
Thank you.
So the paint
It does
come
look
out
good.
over top of that primer good?
What's that?
Did the paint come out over top of the primer good?
Yeah. No, I could not tell the difference, from Harbor Freight and then DC 540. It to me, it's the same.
It smells the same.
I mean, it sands the same, dries the same, soap covers it
Cool.
just as well. I can't find any difference between the two.
The only bitch was when I went there, I got the last can. That must mean you're not going to make it anymore.
Probably.
Of course.
Here comes Trey and
Is this
putting
being
the
sarcastic or are you serious?
I got the last can.
I put it inside the saran wrap
Yeah.
on both sides.
Okay.
And all I have to do now is just put it in a mold like this.
We can't see the mold.
Okay.
It's just
Now I
a
see it.
it's just a V-shaped mold. It's nothing to it.
Okay.
And I know it's not gonna ooze out or stick to anything. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna trim off these ends and just close the mold.
Cool.
But the saran wrap is taking place of the release system, right? That's the idea.
Okay.
Gotta go.
So I'm just gonna put it like this as best as I can, kind of eyeball it in the center. I don't have to be perfect with it. And I'm gonna take this piece, which goes like this. Try to get in the center
Hold
as
it up
best
a little
as
bit
I
higher.
can. I don't have to be perfect on this thing. And
Hold it a little higher. There you go.
There we go.
that looks about centered right there. Push it in. And now I have a couple of bolts on the end of the molds. All I have to do is just close
Tighten it up.
Yep.
I thought that got bolts on it.
Awesome.
They
He
do,
does.
yeah.
He's putting them in now.
Is a balsa in that too or not? You put the balsa on afterwards.
It's in the mold right now.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm just closing the two halves. Put some pressure on it.
How long does this epoxy take to dry?
It's almost all epoxies takes 24 hours to dry fully.
Okay.
I don't care if it says 5 minutes on it. It in 5 minutes gets hard,
All right.
right? But it's not dry.
But not really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do
So how long before you take it out of the mold? 24 hours?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect.
Probably a lot longer in the winter. If you don't, if
Now,
you got
Len,
a
what
cold
you
shop
wanna
like
do?
me in the winter.
You wanna save the cup in which you mix the resin, okay? And then next day, if you take the cup, if you pick up the cup and the resin is really hard, well, then you can take your part out of the mold as well at the same time. Okay.
Yeah, I always
But
do
if you
that.
see in a cup kind of like not really hard, well, you might want to wait.
Right, right.
Okay. Awesome.
Oh shit, Dennis is gone again.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
I'm working on something. I'll be there.
Oh, okay.
All righty.
We'll forgive you. Thousands wouldn't.
And Rob working hard over there.
I got Tryon on full screen here so I can see what he's doing.
Hey, has anyone noticed with ordering stuff, is the price of shipping going up?
I thought
where?
so.
I ordered a battery today, and hell, it was $9.95 just to ship it.
Wow.
Where from?
California, I guess.
Huh. Is John Miller still with us?
No, he waved goodbye.
Oh, I
Okay.
didn't see him.
I didn't see that
I
either.
missed him. I
I
think
wanted to
I
ask
heard
if
him
he got his motor
say
right.
he was leaving, but I didn't know it was him.
Well, guys, I think I'm getting off tonight too a little bit early.
All right.
I've been up since
All
4
right,
All
man.
right, Steve.
morning, so. But
Steve.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll see everybody Monday.
Yeah, take it
Sounds
easy,
good.
Steve. Have a good weekend.
All
Take
right,
it easy.
bye.
Hey, Steve.
Bye, Steve.
Good night, Steve.
Good night.
Good night, Steve.
Now we don't have to raise our hands as often to talk. I can tell how long the delay is just by how long it took y'all to react to what I said. Everybody's got a different amount. All right, Tom, let's see what you got there.
So this week,
Looks like a Mustang wing.
on Monday, I printed out the plan for the Navigator, but I increased the size when I printed it. So it's normally a 52-inch wingspan. This is 67-inch wingspan. I don't know.
Wow.
But I started building this on Tuesday. I started cutting out ribs by hand. And I had 2 copies. I printed out 2 copies of the plan so I could cut up 1 copy of the plan. I cut out each rib because each one is different. It's tapered wing. And then I used a glue stick and glued 2 sheets of 16th-inch balsa together. Then I put a little glue stick on each rib, paper rib, and stuck it to the balsa, then cut out each rib. And then once I got all the notches for the spars cut out, then I separated the 2 ribs and took the paper off. And then built this wing. So this is 650 square inch wing. This weighs 7.6 ounces.
That's pretty good.
Wow. That's nice and light.
And this slot is where the plywood pod goes to hold the engine above the wing because it's a seaplane.
Okay.
So next, I started on the horizontal stabilizer, and that's almost done. And then I still have the fuselage to build. But this is going to be, I'm going to put a powered electric motor, and I always liked the Navigator. It's actually the very first radio controlled airplane that I ever built. But the guy, I bought the kit, that was a kit, and when the place I bought it from, the hobby shop, the guy said, don't use this plane to learn to fly on. So this was back in 1972 when I built the first Navigator. I still have that one, and it's had several different engines, and then now that one's also electric powered. But I think some of you guys probably saw the Navigator in some of the first videos when I was on here. It was in the background. I know
Yeah, I
Kim,
think so.
Kim saw it and got going on fixing up his Navigator. But I didn't fly that one for a long time, and then finally I finished it and flew it after I learned to fly on some other remote control planes. And I just really like the styling of it, so I always kind of wanted to build a bigger one, and so finally I'm building a bigger one from scratch now.
Yeah, I have a question. I've heard of horizontal stabilizers, and I'm always thinking after rudder. Is there a difference between a rudder and a horizontal stabilizer?
Yeah, the horizontal stabilizer goes this way.
Yeah.
Vertical stabilizer goes this way, and then you have the stabilizer and the rudder. The rudder's the part that moves. Of course,
I guess I meant vertical stabilizer. I guess I meant
Charles,
vertical stabilizer
there
and
are
rudder. What's the
different
difference?
things. If you think the vertical stabilizer is the fixed part of the rudder, the rudder is the movable part of it, right?
Right.
That's
but
right.
both
The
together,
tail. Right. Yes.
they make the vertical tail. Okay. And you have the horizontal
Right.
tail, which has a horizontal stabilizer, which is the part that doesn't move.
The front
You have
part.
the elevator,
Right.
which is the part that moves.
Exactly.
All right. I meant vertical. I know it horizontal. I just got confused. I meant vertical stabilizer and rudder. So the part which part is which on the vertical stabilizer? The
rudder
doesn't
the
move.
stabilize. Yeah, the rudder moves. The rudder and elevators move on the tails, and the stabilizer, both vertical and horizontal, don't move.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay.
And that only applies to RC, by the way, unless you're doing a ray rudder.
All right. I have 4 molds ready to go. Done.
All right.
This part is finished. Didn't take much.
Vertical.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, we hear you. I hear
Oh.
you anyways, Dennis.
Okay.
For just a matter of reference, one of the best flying models that I ever built was a Brodak kit. And it was that one. It was, the Brodak Vector 40. That thing is so sweet. I cannot even describe how well it flew. Straight out of the box, just follow the plan directions. And
A lot of people love it. Oh man, I love the translucent looking wings. That's beautiful.
Looks nice. I like that. I like that color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Very sharp.
Very nice. Love it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
I've only had the.
I figured if I built up a wing, and they and you can see if you remember the horizontal stabilizer that was all built up and had actually built up sections which you could see the ribs on both the horizontal stabilizer and the wing. I figured I'd put them being transparent, so at least I can show them all. Yeah, let me do this again. It's the horizontal stabilizer. You can actually see the rib work that the kit builds with, and of course the ribs and the wings because it was a built-up wing. I figured I might as well show it off. Hey,
Yeah, that's pretty.
went to the effort of doing a built-up wing rather than foam.
Yeah, that is really pretty.
And of course, again, that's all monocoat.
Do you still have the plane?
No, actually, what happened was is that at the shortly, several months after I had finished it, built it, and I had flown it a couple times. It had a OS LA-40 as the power plant, and it flew like a dream. The thing flew like on rails. I swear, you pointed to where you wanted to go, and it was there.
Wow.
I had lost my job, so I put it on eBay. I believe it sold for $240, all complete with the engine.
Huh.
Wow.
Peter, would you mind lowering your camera just a little bit?
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Excellent.
There,
There we
that's
go.
better. What's the
Thank you.
airplane hanging behind you?
Oh, as I mentioned before, that's the Pathfinder LE RSM models. Jim Miller has left us, so he was the guy who did up the plans for it. What the history behind that, if you weren't here before, is that I started building that back in, I would say, 2017 when I was working up in New York. I had a basement apartment that was built on the basement floor. And since then, what had happened was is I had moved from New York to West Palm Beach in Florida. And then I moved again from West Palm Beach to Tampa just this past year. And it got so severely hanger rashed that it's just still sitting there in its bare bones frame. And I'm still, I've been told I should resurrect it and fix it and make it fly. But I'm on the fence, considering whether I should just like leave it being a hanger queen and continue on with the two kits that I do have right now, which is a core product Forerunner and the Sig Magnum, or should I really finish that one and make that one fly? The thing is, I do have an engine for that one. I have a OSVF 445 piped engine, and I do not have an engine for the Sig Magnum, but I'm on the fence on whether I want to invest the time to resurrect the Pathfinder. It just I don't know. Anyway, but that's
You don't think
the RSM Pathfinder LE kit that is up above my head right there right now. And if you go to
You don't think you
go to the stunt hangar forums and you just do a search for the Pathfinder LE, you'll find a bunch of posts that I put up while I was building it.
Peter, I've
you
heard
don't
that
think the OS 40
What's
I've
that?
heard that the Pathfinder LV is a very good flying plane. It just hasn't been campaigned well, and so a lot of people don't know how good that plane is because it just hasn't really been campaigned. But I've heard it's a really nice flying plane. I had one person said he thought it flew better than the Impact.
You have to understand, pretty much, I've never flown in competition, but I do like to build airplanes that at least look nice and perform at least when I fly them, I point them where I want them to go, and they go where I want them to go. And it's like, I don't know why. Going back in history for a while, I do recall when Tampa did not exist, and I was flying at the time, and this was in the 70s, the 70s or no, yeah, the late 70s. I remember being in Flushing Meadow Park in Queens, and Tampa did not exist at that particular time. I remember I was flying a old Sterling Kit Imperial Ringmaster at Flushing Meadow Park. And after I finished my flight, these two fellows came over to me, and I don't know their names. I don't know who they were. They walked over to me and they said, "Listen, we just watched you fly, and we were rather impressed. I think you might want to join our new organization called Tampa." And I said at the time, I'm not interested in competition. Don't want to join. Don't care. Um, and it basically after that it was just stayed the same way. I never flown in a competition. I've always basically was a sport flyer, but as far as building and having a pretty airplane to look at, was always it always it made me feel that that's what at least I want to do, even though even if I don't go out and fly in competition, I'm going to build a pretty airplane, the one that I'm satisfied with, and I will fly it into the ground. I will fly it until I fly it into the ground. And I'm not going to build a Concours winning aircraft because, of course, I've been using monocoque since it came out. I mean, quite literally since it came on the market. And I'm no good at painting. I'm no good at dope. Once I tried that, it just ended up being too heavy, too weighty. So I know I'm never going to win a Concours entry. And now I'm 65 years old, and I don't think I'm going to get into anytime soon. But I like to build pretty airplanes.
Don't be so hard on yourself. You're 65, not 95.
But anyway, like I said before, that's the engine that I got for the Pathfinder at the time. It's a 45 VF, and I don't have the pipe for it. I do have the header, but unfortunately, I can't make this. I can't put this into the Sig Magnum because the Sig Magnum.
Why not?
Because it's not set up for a pipe engine. I would have to do so many modifications to it that it would kind of defeat the purpose.
You just have to make the fuselage a little bit wider and make a pipe tunnel. I don't think it's that big a deal. The Magnum has a block on the bottom. Is that right? It's not a round bottom. It's a flat bottom fuselage, right?
It is. Yes, it is.
So you just have to make the fuselage sides a little wider and make the bulkheads a little deeper, and then you've got room for the pipe.
To be quite honest with you, I don't think I want to put that much effort into it. I just freaking hang the pipe outside the fuselage. In that case, I really don't care. It's on the bottom of the airplane.
Okay. You told me you like the pretty looking airplane, though, and I was just trying to help you make your airplane look nice.
Oh, I do understand that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, probably.
That's okay.
The thing is, I've gotten to the point where I have never had success with the 4.2 type engines, where it's the 4.24. I guess I came in a little bit after the 4.24 era had just about passed. When I became really interested in flying control line airplanes, and like I said, my dad was the one that got me really into it. At that point in time, it was the short point engines just came on. For example, this here is a let me see, it's a 40 FSR. It's basically an ABC 40 FSR. It's really not very common. It's hard to find.
Very powerful.
Yeah, very high performance engine. Another pipe
Yeah, very
motor.
powerful.
That's basically actually this motor here. As you can see, I had cut down the lugs on it. You can see how the lugs are cut down on both sides. That's because
yeah.
I fit it into a Sig Mustang Stunter.
Huh.
And I was flying that for quite a while. And I just got used to the what I would say the Brett Buck low pitch, high RPM. You know, basically just maybe a sloppy tube through the whole flight. And
Yeah.
the Sig Magnum basically was still of an era that I remember Mike Pratt initially put a 4-stroke in it. And it was really geared for still back when 424 was popular. That's why the first one I built had a Super Tiger G51 in it, but I could never get a 424 engine to run properly. I just never had any luck.
Well, hold on a minute. If you're trying to make a Super Tiger 51 run a 424, it has to be set up for a 424. You can't run it that way out of the box because it won't.
Oh, well,
you have to send it off to Tom. No, it won't. It's not a 424 motor until it's made into a 424 motor. I run Super Tiger 51s in a lot of my airplanes, but I send them off to Tom Dixon and he reworks them. Then they're a 424 motor and they run beautifully. But to try and run it out of the box, don't even bother. It won't do it. It's not made to do it. The timing, that explains it. The timing's wrong.
A lot of things.
Yeah. See, the timing on a Super Tiger the timing set up on a Super Tiger 51 out of the box, it's not set up to run 424. It wants to run like a piped engine.
Like I said, that would explain a lot of things why the Magnum that I had originally built had the STG 51 in it, and I was trying to
see mine did too.
424, and it
won't run a 424. It's not going to happen. You have to run it like your pipe motor.
You know, my 51, I actually added a couple of head shims, and so I got it to run kind of like a 424. And it kind of softened the upper part of the RPM. So when it did that, I thought it ran pretty good.
That helps, but it's not.
As I mentioned, I'm not used to running. I mean, you know, when I was, going back to the 1970s, when I had my share of Fox engines, I had my share of McCoy 29s and 35s, I had 36Xs. Back in those days, everybody that was it. That was the 424. And then you had Gene Shaver and Bob Lampione used to be regulars at the flying field that I used to visit. And they had the OS 35 Max S. And as a matter of fact, I do have an OS 35 Max S still back there on the shelf. They were basically still running 424. But when I got into really building my own airplanes and the like, it was the era of the FSR. Like I said, the FSR 40 came out, the Schnurl ported engines. Everybody was starting to run pipes at that time, and I just found that it was a heck of a lot easier to manage any one of the newer motors running, like I said, a wet 2 or just a braking 2 and throughout the entire flight. And when I got my STG 51, I figured, oh, this must be a 424 engine.
No. Not until you have it set up that way. If you want to run a 424 2.4 engine out of the box, brand new, you need a roadjet or a stalker. They will do that, but not that motor.
Yeah,
if you buy a roadjet, it'll run 424. If you buy a stalker, it'll run 424. They're designed to run that. But these other engines, a lot of them aren't. Like a PA is going to generally give you a pipe type run. Like the motors you've been talking about.
The interesting thing is that the LA 40 that I had in the Vector, I did not run that 424. I did not run that.
No, you don't have to. No, I don't run mine that way either. I run it like a pipe motor. The 46 I run like a 424. But the 40 I find runs better as the other way.
Interesting.
And the FP40s, they run.
I have the 40. What is it? The 40 OS LA 45 or is it the 46?
The FP40s, they won't run a 424 either. They want to run like a pipe motor.
Because that one I want to put in the Forerunner profile is the OS 45. I've got one. It's like sitting up here. It's the blue engine. The 46 rather.
LA 46?
Yeah.
And how do you want to run it? Do you want to run it like a pipe motor, or do you want to run 424? You tell me. I can tell you how to set it up.
I do not want to run 424.
Okay, you want to run it like a pipe motor. Okay, so just run it stock out of the box and run it like a pipe motor. Low pitch prop and run it up.
Yeah, I just find it's easy to dial in. If you want to slow the lap time down, you reduce the pitch. You want to pick up lap time, you increase the pitch.
Yeah, it's all in what you want to do. You can run any way you want, but you got to know what to do to make it work. Otherwise, you just drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. My biggest drawback always was to get a consistent engine run time after time after time. And I found
I lived it.
424 was just almost impossible to achieve.
I lived that all the way up until 2010, and then I sent my first motor to Tom Dixon, and I never had the problem again because he's a motor man. He knows what to do. He works it over. It comes back to me, and it works.
Yeah, I gather everybody on this board has had their trials and tribulations with engine runs. And, it's like it's either the fuel or it's the glow plug or it's the prop or it's the who knows, any number of different things. That's always been that's always been my Achilles heel, trying to get an engine to run consistently flight after flight after flight. People tell you, buy a Tacoma, buy this and buy that.
But if you don't need a tack. You know what? The deal is, find the guy in your club or that flies in your area that has beautiful engine runs all the time and do what he does. It works.
Yeah, good idea, man.
Fuselages are different too. Profiles have their own host of issues related to stiffness of the fuselage. And
for sure.
I remember having an old Midwest ME 109. They used to shake so bad the tank would foam up, and I had a hell of a time getting an engine run out of that sucker.
Yeah.
What kind of motor?
And other times it's an imperceptible vibration that just keeps you from being able to needle it the same back-to-back flight. And so that can be fuselage stiffness, engine bearers, doublers, and all of that go into stiffening the fuselage correctly.
There's so many things that can be wrong. You have to figure out which it is that's causing it. It may be the airplane.
That matter.
It can be anything from the.
Go ahead, Lance.
It can be anything from the stiffness of the engine bearers to the doublers to whether or not it has a cheek cowl, to whether the tank is set up properly, to is the prop balanced. You'd be surprised how many people don't have the prop balanced and they think they do, and it's way out. It's not even close. Well, of course, it's going to shake like crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, come on. I'm talking about back in the day where Top Flight made the freaking 10-6 nylon props that used to be like, used to flex like this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
I
remember
mean, the
seeing those things.
nylon, the red and
Yeah, the
white
white one.
nylon job.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the
They look
ones.
cool, but they would. That's the only prop I've ever had throw a piece of its blade at me.
Yeah, that'll take your
Wow.
eye out. They're
I
scary.
might be
Yes,
murdered
think
right
about
now,
that.
but if you want to say goodbye to all of your engine problems, go electric. You will
Yeah,
never have
Yeah,
a
that's
we
bad
know
right.
that.
engine run ever again.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have
You
half the
know,
fun.
hey, Fran, you know we know that.
Yeah, but Peter might know that. Not know that. Hey, but Peter, you know what I do, Peter, is I get the I find out where the motor is happy. I mean, after I get the wings level, and then and the tank right, then I listen to the motor and I try to find its happy spot. And once I find out where it's happy, then I adjust my lines. That's why I'm making lines here. I have like lines every foot increment. So whatever the engine's happy at, I make my lines that length, and then I start fine tuning it with the prop. I might shave a little bit off here or there, or not to mention the pitch and all that. But the first thing is to find where the motor's happy at. And if it's happy
This
there,
is
they'll
not
go
a
there.
propeller.
That's
This
it.
is not a propeller. This is a
That's a
peanut
squirrel.
butter spreader, not a propeller.
Yeah.
Len, you
Wow.
mean like this?
What's
Here we
that?
go,
Yeah,
Len,
you
another
got one. Yeah, see, everybody's
one
got
of the
one.
babies.
Oh, the
Tornado,
tornadoes.
yellow mod.
They're
Oh,
good. I like
yeah.
those.
Those are made in
Yeah, they
Indiana.
were actually pretty good, but eventually they'll curl back.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
away with boiling them a few times, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't put
I've
this
had
on
my share
anything
of those.
except a peanut butter. That's not.
And then after I had my share of those, I just swore on, wood props, and that's it. Don't give me fiberglass. Don't give me carbon fiber. Basically, just give me my good old wooden prop.
Good night, guys.
Again,
I've been just loading up.
Good night, Tom.
Good night, Tom.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez,
different
I'm
prop.
like flies.
Different props for different applications.
Oh.
Yeah. What was it? Wendy said you need to have 3 props, right?
I mean,
One
these
for-
things are
for,
freaking ridiculous.
That's right. You're right, Charles. Tell me what they're for.
One's for windy and one's for calm, and then you have one just like an everyday condition. But you have 3 props, so you go out there and that way you don't have to work with nitro. Some guys like adjusting nitro, but windy just have 3 different props.
Yeah,
So
he
runway
didn't
air
bother with
and
it. Yeah, he never adjusted nitro. He just changed props.
No, not jeez, do you think I want to throw another variable into the equation? I just figured out that, here there was a SIG fuel, SIG champion. It was 5%
Rojet.
nitro, 20% caster, or whatever the hell it was. At least that was stable.
Well, but again, different fuel for different motors. Every motor won't run on the same fuel. You're going to run different motors with different types of fuel. If you're running a Rojet and you're putting caster in it, you're going to be a sad puppy real quick.
All
Don't
my
do
motors
it.
run very well on
You
this
know you're
fuel.
talking to us.
It doesn't matter what motor I put on it.
That debate can go
Yeah.
on and on because you have your okay, so it's a certain amount of caster and a certain amount of synthetic. It's kind of like it's synthetic, but may have like a 5% caster base because caster definitely has certain properties that are better than just full synthetic. I mean, I went through, Cool Power and all of those different ones, and
Yeah, but they're all good fuels. It's just a matter of knowing what to run in what motor. Some motors like one type of fuel and some won't run on it at all.
Right.
Hey, I guess
Plain
we
and
gotta go
simple.
electric. You gotta go
If you
electric.
want to if you go on the stunt hanger and look under Randy Smith's article on it, he'll tell you what fuel to run in every motor. They all take different types of fuel. And if you do what he tells you to do, they work. It's that simple. I don't have to teach you. I just tell you where to go. Go to Stunt
Right.
Hanger, go on the engine forum and read Randy Smith's article on it. He's got it all right there for you. And it
And keep
works
in mind,
every time.
all right, keep in mind, Randy Smith is talking precise stunt requirements too. So if you're just a sport flyer,
Most
you don't
definitely.
have to spend quite as much uh, brain power worrying about, the details of the fuel. But Lynn's right, different engines do require different mixes.
To a certain extent, I agree with you because basically I'm a sport flyer. But even if being a sport flyer, I do like to go out there and I do like to do the
You like
pattern.
to have good, yeah.
My own personal,
Most definitely.
my own personal enjoyment. And the one thing I don't want to have to deal with when I'm out there is to deal with engine issues, such as an engine. You get 3/4 through the flight and the thing turns around and says, "Okay, now I'm going to scream
Yeah.
green for the rest of the flight," or I'm going to turn around and not be as steady RPM through the whole flight, or any
Exactly.
number of basically engine run conditions that just makes putting your flight, other than if you're going to be sitting there doing just laps in level flight over and over and over again, a challenge.
So again, knowing the right setups makes it easier so that you don't have those issues. I went through it for years. I couldn't get anything to run right. I'd be frustrated and I'd go to a contest and everything would be working great. I'd get to the contest and the damn thing, I'd have two runaways. Would take off, nice 4.24, get about halfway through the pattern. It screams like blue murder right to the end, or go over the top and quit during the vertical eights. The frustration was unbelievable. But finally, after many years, I started listening. And listening instead of talking helped me a lot because I used to think I knew, and I didn't know anything. What I knew was nothing, and the guys who knew, I wasn't listening to them. I figured, they don't know what they're doing. Well, guess what? They do.
Interesting. That thing that you bring up is listening to the guys that know.
Yeah. And they know.
The unfortunate, I used to do the same thing back. I'm talking about when I was a heck of a lot younger, when I was basically, in my 20s or my teens. And Bob Lampione and Gene Schaefer used to come to, and Vic Macaluso used to come to Flushing Meadow Park to practice, to put their laps in early on Sunday mornings. I would go over there and I would ask them all sorts of questions, and they would look at me and say, "I don't think you are worth my while to answer." Unfortunately, they would kind of like, had their nose up in the air that they weren't going to be sharing a whole lot. I've got more important things to do. I can at this age now I can understand it because they were out there practicing for the next nationals or for the next world championships, which Gene Schaefer actually went and competed for that year when on the cover of the magazine that I showed. This was Bob Hunt's Genesis, but Gene turned around and campaigned that airplane to the world rather than his own stunt machine. But unfortunately, you had guys that turned around and were top guys that were willing to share knowledge. I went out back in the day and I tried to talk to the top guys, and they said, I don't have time for you. So Maybe I'm.
Oh, you know
never
what?
mind. I didn't say that.
Not everybody's that way, so you know. The guys I've always, a lot of the guys I've talked to have been very helpful over the years, and I haven't seen very many that wouldn't help me out if I asked the questions. Trouble is, sometimes I didn't know what questions to ask.
That's half
If
the
you don't know
problem.
what questions, yeah, if you don't know the right questions to ask, you ask the wrong question, you get the wrong answer. But now, as I've gotten more experience, I know what questions to ask, and so I can learn.
Interestingly enough, the one guy that that helped me out a lot was this old fella. I mean, he must have been flying for God only knows how many years. His name was Frank. He used to come to Flushing Meadow Park, and he had this ancient Sterling shoestring model. I mean, this thing had a Fox 35 on it that was so crusted in castor oil that you couldn't see the motor underneath it. And I remember
You mean Goldberg shoestring, don't you?
the Goldberg shoestring, correct?
Okay, all right.
And I remember
Okay.
I was just learning how to do stunts at the time, and I was having a hell of a time flying inverted. And of course, all the experts like Brett Buck and all these guys say this is the absolute wrong way of doing it. But I said, how do you fly inverted? I mean, how do you actually do it? I mean, I can do the regular loops okay, but how do I do when I have to flip it upside down to do reverse loops? And it stuck with me to this day. He said, listen, what you do is you bring it over. And when you bring it over, hold your hand like this. And if you stop rotating with the airplane, it's going to go up, back, around the other way. And ever since then, and I'm told that's not the proper way to do it. You're supposed to hold your hand like this when you're going over inverted or doing anything. I'm sorry, I just got used to doing that. And that was like, and this guy was like nobody. And he helped me the most out of
Hey,
anybody that
Mike.
got me to fly U control.
Yeah. How you doing, Mike? I don't know if his camera's on or his mic.
Well, his camera's certainly on.
His camera's on. I see him in his orange top.
Hey, Mike, we can't hear you.
I don't see him talking.
There you
I
go.
think he's trying to show his son there.
That's a really short
Oh, look at that.
plane.
All right. What is he doing in the
What
back?
plane is that?
I don't know, but it's awful short. What is he doing?
that's Sam.
Yeah, but why is he
That's
flying a
the
big airplane like
size
that on
lines
10-foot line? It's like 10 feet.
Not
Whoa.
Wow. Yeah, he's lucky he didn't hit the basketball hoop.
Sam.
Yeah.
Now what do we have?
You know what the problem is? He's got his garage bay door open.
No, he always does.
That kind of reminds me. One time I was flying I was invited to show off my model airplanes. I was flying at a farm, and half the circle was a barn, so I had to pull into a wing over every time I went and run half the circle.
Now it looks like he's got it working. Looks like he got a buddy in the background, right?
Yep.
No, it's frozen up again.
You guys want to see the first results of an experiment?
Uh-oh.
Sure thing, man.
Uh-oh.
Sure.
All
Let
those
me make your
wings for
picture
those
big.
rock stunt trainers that I was building, I tried out using Dr. Paper with thin white glue
Yeah.
for skin it. At first, it was just a wrinkled
Yeah.
mess, but this about 4 hours later, shrunk out, virtually no issues. Tips for
Isn't that awesome?
one piece. So I think it's the way to go. I tried out
Looks good.
using the silk can wet as a trial and dry. And wet, it was just too wet by the time I put the glue on, so it just made a mess. That was just on some sample pieces of foam. So I just used the Dr. Paper dry and about 50-50 thin white glue. And it worked out really good.
50-50 white glue and what? Water?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that works out.
Is that right over the
Yeah,
phone?
that's what Mike was saying he uses, I think.
We one of the first things
I've
that we
never-
made in my club for a wing, we cover it with some thin cardboard on top of it, and we actually soaked the cardboard with white glue and water. And when it was dried out, I mean that thing was so tight, and that wing was virtually indestructible. I mean, it was made a great trainer.
Well, that's awesome.
So yeah, it's
I
going to
thought
shrink
about
out pretty
using
good.
paper like some do.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, like some guys use the brown paper. I've got that too, but I've got this case of Dr. Paper, so I thought I'd try it, and I think I'll stick with it.
So that's right over the foam, right?
Right over the foam. I didn't even prep the foam, just sanded it with 100 grit.
So what are you going to paint it with now?
Well, I'll probably put another sealer coat on that can be. I'm not worried about fuel proof on that. I just want it compatible with two-part primer, and I'm just going to paint it with high-tech aircraft paint because I got a whole bunch of it.
Okay.
Which is a two-part approved epoxy type paint.
Okay. Cool.
Very good, Rob.
Oh, just on a different color. I've got 8 of them to do.
Neato. That's neat.
Hey, Rob, have
Good
you ever
job.
given a demo or a tour of your shop? Your shop looks kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, I did, but I could do another one. Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's that drill press looks interesting with the fence.
Off the rack here. Yeah, that's a labor saver. I use it constantly. Here, I'll just unplug the iPad off the mount here. And okay, so just a tour around this bench is that drill press is set up specifically to do these 3-hole cabinet hinges.
Hey, turn the camera horizontal.
So it's not much use for models. That better?
I hope so.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's better.
The silly thing
kind of blurry,
just
but
keeps
it's
rotating on me, the picture. I can't get it to stop. So anyway, I just got some belt sanders and stuff up there, and in that cabinet there is all kinds of drills, and then the drill press with the stand on it, or the base there. I'm probably going to lose the sound here. I don't.
All right.
Be sure and hold the camera as still as possible when you stop on an object, and it shows pretty good when you do that. Yeah, there went your sound. Your sound
gone.
went out.
We lost him.
That's okay.
Yeah,
What is that? Oh, is that a sander? What is that?
I don't know. Maybe that was
I don't break.
maybe that was a cutter, laser cutter or something.
Okay, that was a tabletop. All right.
Or rather a CNC machine.
Wow, that's a pretty elaborate shop.
Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Looks
Top
like
notch
that tables on
carpenter, that's
wheels.
why.
Wow.
Wow, look at it
I like
organized. Mine look
Oh,
like I
that's pretty
threw them
cool.
in the drawer across the room.
Oh, nice sanding belts. Yeah.
I can hear him in the background.
Files.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, the junk drawer.
Everybody has one of those.
Oh, refrigerator. That's what you need in my shop.
Yeah, I
You need a
got one.
bathroom and a refrigerator.
I got a fridge. I wish I had running water.
Very nice.
The
Wow.
only thing that runs in my shop is the tools.
Wow. Look at that. Yeah.
I'm
Very
impressed.
interesting. Yeah,
Pretty
I thought it
awesome,
looked pretty
Rob.
interesting.
And then I've got underneath the staircase, I've got all kinds of supplies and power tools and clamp rack. And then I've got a shed
Yeah,
out
fair.
back that I got to clean out. That's for my painting. And then my mechanical tools, I mean,
What
a lot of them
did
and my
you
motorcycles and
show us?
airplane are stored in the
Did you show us a
right now.
CNC machine or something?
No, don't have one of them yet.
Hey Rob,
Like that.
one of the things you showed us when your sound was out was do you have a CNC? You lifted the lid on something and then put it back down, but
No, what
I
that
couldn't tell
is
what it was. I thought it was just a drawer.
No, Rusty, what that is a dual drum 28-inch wide thickness sander. So you start out with
Wow.
a coarse disc pad, go to fine, and it's a conveyor feed. It's very precise. Like when I made this spar stock, for example, I milled it down
Wow,
on
okay.
that, so it's nice and smooth.
Hey, he's got an
So,
Elvira Mistress of the
that's kind of
Dark
it.
poster.
Of course. Doesn't everybody?
Very nice, Rob.
And then, I didn't show at the back there. I also have one of my shapers in here too, but haven't been using it much lately. So with more cutters and these drawers here are full of rotors, and this is some rotor bits for 1/4 inch. Don't know if you can see that.
Nice.
And then
Yeah.
in here is some of my 1/2 inch, and I've got several boxes full. So if I want to do leading edges or whatever, mill stuff, no big deal. Takes a little bit of time to set up.
That's a pretty impressive setup. Pretty impressive workshop you got there. Thanks for showing us.
Well, it's coming along. That one wall I was showing you with to the back there, I've got the cabinet components made for it, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it to convert that wall to a full workstation and build a new model building station where I'm at right now, and back there is going to be all my main hardwood working tools and some of my supplies. And then another thing on the go is one of my old compressors. I want to reverse the flow on it. Let's try it out as a vacuum machine for doing vacuum forming for composite components.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then I've got a drafting table back there also. I'm going to laminate on a sheet of P-lam onto it so that I can have more multi-surface use out of it. Maybe as a building table too. I've got a 5-foot industrial drafting machine back there.
Surprise me.
So yeah, that's my hobbies. Some of them.
Right. Looks like a lot of fun. Now, is this in a garage or is this in a basement?
No, it's in basement.
That's what I'm looking for.
Nice.
And then The other half of the basement is sort of my jumbled together study area, library, model airplane storage.
Nice.
We
All right.
don't
Thank
have
you for showing me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Maybe as I do updates, I'll give you another tour someday, Charles.
I heard you were motorcycle heading somewhere.
Yeah, actually, we've got 3 Harleys and a Suzuki that we've had forever, but got them out in my container at the airport right now, along with an airplane I got to finish, full-size one.
Okay.
So there's always something to keep busy with.
What's up, gentlemen? How's everybody doing tonight?
Hey, Mike.
We're doing good, Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
What's going on?
How y'all doing, man?
Doing good.
Doing all right.
Doing well.
Looks like you got friends over.
Yeah, we're not social distancing, but we're hanging out with another family that has been in quarantine, so we're all safe. We got our friends Gabe and Audra are here with their 2 little boys, and the kids are having a play date, and the adults are putting on the feed bag, having some cocktails and cake, and playing trivia games tonight.
All right.
Oh, very cool.
Hey,
Awesome.
if you're all clear, then hey, why not go for
Yeah,
it?
it's another family that we know, and they've been in lockdown for like 6 weeks too. So we're just all hanging out together tonight. We decided it was time.
Holly and I have a couple of friends that we can trust to come over like that too. So
Exactly. Exactly. We're on the waning side of it, so we thought it'd be safe. But I had the volume muted, but I don't know if you saw my bride sitting on my lap there for a while. She's the
I did.
She's the benefactor. That's she's the benefactor of Samuel and I's control line modeling. She writes the checks, I guess.
We thank her for her support.
Yeah, lucky to have her.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Lucky to have her.
What was
You are
flying?
You are lucky to have her.
Yeah, you're lucky to have Naomi too. Hey, Len, at least your wife flies control line.
You're right.
Right?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's all right.
I'm trying
Either
to
way,
start.
hey, your wife's a
Hey, Mike.
control line. It's all good.
Thanks, guy.
Oh, you got it. Okay, Robert, you got the props and the motor I sent you to the Great White frozen north of Canada. They finally came through Canada Postal Post. That only took like 6 weeks, right? 5 weeks.
Well, the U.S. stores it for about 2 weeks usually, and then they put it in Calgary and store it for me for another couple of weeks. So it's
In
so
Calgary.
nice of them.
Okay, well, I'm glad you got them.
You're bad influence. Like, you talk about cocktail too.
Okay, well, I hope you're happy with the engine. Just run it, and like I said, if you're not, we'll make it right. Okay.
No worries about it. I'm quite familiar with these old foxes.
All right.
They're indestructible.
Excellent.
If you treat them right.
So, Len, what's your secret?
However, if you run across a Fora or something, I might be interested in that.
Which one? A Fora?
I don't know, Mark
not
4
happening.
or something in that series.
No, I don't have any. I've got a couple Mark IVs, but I don't have anything other than that. And I'm going to hang on to the 2 Mark IVs I have. They're good runners. But Len, I wanted to ask you, what's your secret? How did you get Naomi to start flying control line airplanes? Because I would love it if my wife would do that. And she's sitting right here off camera. So what's the secret? How do you get them to do that?
Well, the secret. I don't know. I just wanted to do it right from the get-go. I mean, when I first met Naomi, I was flying airplanes, and so she wanted to try it because our relationship was new then, right? Now, I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
Trying to get someone to do it years later could be a little trickier.
Well, I finally talked Lisa and my daughter into going to a control line contest with us last year. We went to Canton, Georgia. We flew in the Canton contest.
Okay.
And my wife.
That's in August, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in August. She was pretty flipping
That's
bored.
right. Okay.
She was pretty bored being there. Thank God that Derek's wife.
Well, this is what see. This is what happened with Naomi. She said, "I'm not just going to sit out here and watch this. If I've got to be here, I'm going to fly planes. I'm not going to just sit here and do nothing all day."
Yeah,
I remember that.
I don't think I can.
very
I don't
distinctly
think I
remember
can make
that.
my wife go to
After-
another one.
Well, I didn't make her go. She wanted to be with me, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
So when she was there, she got bored pretty quickly and decided, well, I guess I better fly planes. Otherwise, I'm going to be bored every time I come to one of these.
Well, I'll just say this.
Yeah. I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
Yeah, he's freezing up.
Of course, just when I wanted to hear what he had to say.
Yeah, you're not chooching much.
You broke up, Mike.
Turn your camera
Man, I got
off.
last year.
Turn your camera off, Mike. You're not that good looking anyway.
Nah, he went gray on us now.
Oh, God.
Okay.
There, you turn your camera off?
Yeah, I turned my camera off. Is that
Okay,
better?
now I can hear you. Yeah, now
Yeah,
you got
the
to
voice
say
is
what you
better.
said again, 'cause I didn't hear any of it.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, Len, you're lucky that you have one that likes to fly, and I guess I'm lucky that has one that supports me and Samuel in our endeavors. So
Likes to buy.
we're both lucky men.
One likes
true.
to fly, one likes to buy.
Actually, let's make that 3 of us lucky.
I
Yeah,
just have one that
well-
likes to support me. I got one that supports me, so that's good too. But
She
it doesn't rhyme.
doesn't. She doesn't know. She doesn't know most of what she's buying, you know, because I'll put it on the bank statement as weed whacker parts or lawnmower parts, or you know, I'll
Oh,
try to hide them.
I could tell you. Hey, you know what the secret is to that, Mike?
What?
Naomi buys all the stuff because she knows what it all is.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Naomi knows different. Naomi's bought three Rojets already from Dub Jet. She buys them.
Wow.
Nice.
Does she have a sister? Does she have a single sister?
Yeah, but I don't think she's any interest in model airplanes at all. Zero.
All right, guys. Well, I just wanted to pop in and say hi, and I'm gonna get back to our trivia and watching the kids here. But y'all have a good rest of the show.
Yeah, man, y'all have a great time.
You have a good night, Mike. Take
See
it
you guys.
easy.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye
see-
now.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah, on the subject of wives, guys, I hit the jackpot too.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
Very nice.
Man,
I think we all did.
Yep.
Yeah.
I even got her to fly last summer. First time at the handle. After a little bit of assistance, let go. She flew out the tank, landed it, didn't flip it over. No problem. Almost made it to
Nice.
the pit area. So I'm
Very,
really
very
encouraged.
nice.
That's what I want for us, to try and encourage her to get hooked on it.
Now, what plane was that she flew?
Just a little bit of an oversized half-A trainer, sheet wing airfoiled. My friend Paul Jabot up here has a little fleet of them for when people come out to the field and want to try their hand at control line. So they're just about twice the size of a baby ringmaster, but sheet wing, and fly pretty good for a trainer. We tried out those
very good.
Coroplast flying flapjack ones, and they didn't fly worth a damn. I mean, they weren't that good for training. So a real airplane, you got to get them on the end of the lines with it.
You know what we
Right.
built
Bigger the
was a
better.
half-A Coroplast Ringmaster. Half-A Coroplast Ringmaster. Flies beautiful for a
That'd
trainer.
work.
Oh yeah, that's what we do with Naomi, and she flies it upside down and everything else. It's crazy. It's wild.
Len, did you see my last
Well,
video?
the nice thing about the
No, I haven't seen it. Where do I go to see it?
I put here in a chat box. If you open the chat, there's a link over there.
Okay.
You can just follow the link.
Okay.
Get to the last
Follow
flight
the
when you hit the
link.
wing, when you hit the flight box.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. That sucks. Yeah, I didn't realize you'd crashed the plane until tonight when you mentioned that. Like, I didn't know what the deal was. I knew
I hit the
something had
flight box
changed
at
with the
the
fuselage or
landing.
something. That sucks.
Like an
Shit
idiot.
happens, right? Well,
Yeah,
we all
it does
make
happen.
mistakes. We all do it. We all do it. Crap happens. That's life.
I tried to
Yeah,
fly
it
for
does.
Okay, you're
that.
getting a new.
Yeah. There was an online competition contest where you video your flights and then you turn them in. So I was
Yeah.
doing that, and I was trying to put the maneuvers opposite of the camera. The problem is that the wind started to
Oh.
blow in my face. So
Okay.
I was
Yeah,
flying
that's no good.
everything upwind, and it was getting more and more tricky, you know. And until it just
Yeah.
broke loose, and I said, no, I'm moving, and that's it.
Not worth it.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
No.
But if you
Yeah, I
if you
don't do
watch it,
stuff
you can
like
see
that.
the performance of the plane, how fast it turns.
Yeah, I'll bet. That's cool. I'll check it out. I will check it out.
Yeah, let me
I'm
see if I can-
surprised of all the air. I'm actually very surprised of all the airplanes that Naomi has flown. She's flown everything from a half-A of any kind right up to my 60 size stunter, like an impact type airplane. Full flight, take off, fly the whole flight and land. She's flown combat,
Wow.
she's flown carrier,
Mhm.
she's flown racing many times, speed
Wow.
events at Brodax. She's flown just about everything. Scale, she flies scale with a throttle. She has her own scale model.
Nice. Wow.
She's tried just
Impressive.
about everything. But she really wants to learn how to fly stunt, but she's really struggling with some of the stuff still. But we'll get her out again this year and get her doing some more maneuvers. Bust up a few more unimportant airplanes.
Right. That's the process, unfortunately.
Yeah.
How's the flying weather up there looking, Lynn?
Absolutely horrible right now. They're calling for snow tonight. So it's gone in the tank right now.
How about you, Gary?
That's
You ever
okay
been
though, because I'm
flying
still
anything
trying to wrap up
lately?
all my airplanes.
Gary, you ever get out and fly anything lately, or have you had bad weather?
I haven't had some weather, but a lot of wind. So
It's been really windy here too.
yeah.
Really windy.
Rusty,
Yeah.
should I try to share this this window again? You think it's going to work out, or just the connection is bad for that?
What? Oh, you mean do a screen share?
Yeah.
It should work. Yeah, it ought to work. Everybody else was doing it earlier pretty
There you go.
successfully.
Uh-huh.
That works.
Yeah, it looks
So
pretty good.
far,
Let's see
so
what happens.
good. It's slow.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I hadn't got.
I got
to
it.
yet. It's coming.
Is it clear? Can you see it?
Yeah.
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 You can see you're just missing some frames. It's like we missed several frames at a time, but
That's okay.
There we
you can see
go.
the path.
Now I got it.
If you're watching on YouTube,
It's
probably
not
going to
missing
see it
as
much
many
better.
frames. Yeah, It's not missing as many frames as you were the other night.
Can you move your cursor, Tryon? Your cursor's in the. There we go. Thank
That
you.
was a nice 5-foot pullout.
Yeah, just keep in mind that this whole flight, the wind is blowing into my face more and more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah, I see you backstepping, doing the wind dance.
Yep, quite a bit.
Yeah, that's how you get off center.
What's that, a soccer field?
Yep.
nice field.
It is.
Nice level flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Nice
posture.
he got nice bottoms there.
Watch the corners on the squares now.
Maybe
Goes that fast.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's skipping so many frames that sometimes it's
Yeah, it's so many.
entire
I can't see it.
corner.
Yeah, it's just choppy. I can't see it.
Oh, but you don't have to really see it. You can look at where the bottoms are turning out.
Yeah, one circle is like eight snapshots.
8 clicks. Mine stopped. Mine froze.
Yeah, it's about 8 snapshots all the way around the circle.
Oh,
is how many frames.
that was a beautiful triangle. Damn,
Mine's still going.
like that.
Yeah, we're doing some round
where the
eights
window's
here now.
picking up a little bit.
Is this Tryon? Is this the one you posted the link for that we copied?
Yes, yeah. You can watch it directly on YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
That's my favorite maneuver there.
Watch the
17
square 8.
turns.
Check this out.
Damn. Actually, to a certain degree, missing the frames, you can actually see where the airplane is at different points, and it's like it's in the same spot constantly.
This is where I'm being blown out of the maneuver.
Oops.
The vertical A.
Not here, but here. That's where I lost it the first time, and that's where I lost it the second time.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Now you're almost
Yeah.
running. Yeah, it's bad news.
And this
Yeah,
is why
you
I
were
said,
really dancing on that one.
yeah, I'm gonna do the hourglass. Watch the bottom pull out on this corner.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Say, can it turn?
That probably made you like almost
Squeeze your cheeks.
yeah, squeezing tight.
No, actually not. It's this plane turns so fast and so effortless. It's just that good. Yeah, the wind is picking up this time.
Must have still been a moment where you were saying to yourself, "Uh-oh, is this actually going to work or not?"
Are you using .015 lines?
Yes.
Wow. What's the length on those lines, roughly?
68.
Wow.
And here's
That's a
where I'm
pretty
coming
long
for
way out.
landing, and I'm hitting the toolbox. Bam!
Oh,
Bang.
Ouch.
Okay.
that sucks.
Damn, that's a shame.
Nice airplane.
There she is. That's a pretty plane.
Ugh.
Ouch.
So frustrating.
Oh, well.
Toolbox 1, airplane 0.
But you know what? Most of the impact was being absorbed by the fuselage, and the fuselage got most of the damage, not the wing. Actually, the wing got a
Nice.
little bit
Yeah,
of
that's
damage.
right.
And come again?
Note to self: put the flight box further out in the circle.
Yeah, mark the center of the freaking circle to begin with.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and actually, until I got to the vertical 8, I was kind of okay, everywhere. Very light but manageable, right? But even with that, the plane was performing beautiful.
Oh, it was a fantastic flight.
So
You know what
yeah,
I do if I'm flying in a place that I don't think wants me spray painting a circle is I just throw a white rag out right behind where I want to stand and can see that out of peripheral vision.
yeah, something. Yeah, that was my mistake. So hey, I'm taking full responsibility for that because it was
Yeah,
dumb.
you know what? It won't happen again. You'll have the center mark next time.
Oh yeah, you know I'm not gonna do it again. And funny thing is, like,
No,
this
you're
is
not.
the one plane that I had for the longest time ever. Most of my plane
Yeah.
never lasted this long, but this one did. And it's actually still flyable. I'm gonna use the wings and the stabilizer from it, and I'm gonna put the new fuselage on it. And the
That's
cool
awesome.
part of it is that these parts are interchangeable. So um, I'm done gluing stuff in the fuselage right now. I made my rails, so I'm pretty much ready to do some final assembly. I think tomorrow night everything should be hardened, and I think Sunday I can do some final assembly and putting the hardware inside that and call it a day.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah.
Yeah, I even put when I put the elevator on, I even put the wings on and everything. It just snaps, goes precisely where it needs to be.
Like,
Nice.
considering the flying field is a soccer field and you basically don't have a set circle to fly from, you make your own circle pretty much. If you need more space and you can move back further away from wherever you're hitting your airplane, go for it. It's not like you're like in a set flying field where the circle is where it's at and that's where you have to stay.
But if it's a circle of where you have to stay, you know exactly where you're at because they usually have something on the center, some pad of made of asphalt or some lines being drawn on the center. Something is over there, and
Yeah, absolutely. But in your case, and then and it's been my case for many years. The last time I flew at a actual proper flying field was back in New York in Flushing Meadow Park, and for some reason the Parks Department, back when they had the World's Fair in Flushing Meadows, they put in a control line field that 4 circles, 2 glass, 2 completely paved, and you had the privilege of flying on actual real dedicated surfaces. But ever since then, I've been flying wherever I can find any place to do it. And in that case, you turn around, you take one of those little wire flags that they stick in the ground when they try to do, when your pest control people come, you stick that down in the ground someplace, run that at your lines up, and pretty much you know where you're sitting at any given point. That's the one advantage. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Try to
You know,
watch this thing
out
from
here,
try to watch this thing from YouTube directly, because you're gonna have a much nicer image and stuff like that. And I try to keep the
What's the
resolution.
title of it on YouTube?
What?
What's the title of it on YouTube? If I go to YouTube, what's the title?
Look in the chat box here. You have a link.
He put the link in the message box. He put the
Open
link in the
chat box.
message box earlier.
Yeah, I don't know how to get to that.
Bottom left.
Bottom left on the screen, and it pops up right next to the hand.
Okay. Okay, I see the hand. So am I going on the right side of the hand or the left side of it?
Right side.
Yeah, it's the box with the point on the middle. It's a conversation bubble.
Okay.
Click on that, and it takes a minute sometimes, but the messages will pop up.
Okay, I see it. Okay, I got
Okay, now what you
I
do,
got
right click on that and say copy link address, and then paste it into Notepad or something.
Okay, I got it. Okay, I figured it out. Cool.
Or copy it, and I don't know if you know how to paste it anywhere. Open Word or something and paste it in there. Do you know how to do that? Or Notepad?
I'll figure it. Naomi to help me figure it out. At least.
Yeah. What's interesting to me, the cool part to find out is that I can fly upwind even with something that wasn't exactly that light, and I could get away with it.
Yeah, I suppose heavier is better in the wind.
No, it's not heavy. It's a very light plane.
No.
Okay.
Revolutions, my plane with the battery on board weighs 59.5 ounces.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And that's
Nice.
a 710 square inches wing.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a big plane.
Maybe even a little too light for that square inch. That's beautiful.
Actually, right now, our capabilities is to build this plane in a 52-ounce range with the battery.
Wow.
I mean, it
That's
can be
pretty impressive.
ridiculously light, but even at the weight it is right now, we are really not hurting for weight at all.
Go ahead.
This plane is like at 60 ounces, we fly it as if it's nothing.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, I remember basically, coming back from, when, my main experience with control line was back when you had your 35 OS 35 stunters, and when you were talking about way less square inches on the wing area, and damn. If you were 48, 50 ounces, you were like beautiful for an OS 35. And you're talking about electric with twice the square inches. That's really impressive.
Yeah. This is it's an electric plane. I'm flying with a 12.6 wood prop on it, and it's just. Yeah, if you want to say goodbye to any motor run problems and say goodbye to them forever, just fly electric.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
yeah.
The thing is, electric, you have to learn a whole different paradigm. It's
not that hard. Yeah. It is a little bit of investment, but I'm going to tell you the investment is far less than a road jet engine.
Oh, well,
point there.
Absolutely.
No, it's not.
No,
It's
it's
also
not.
a lot less than 110 motors.
No, it's, Len.
I have probably 110 motors.
Well, yeah, if you've got everything invested in IC, then yeah, absolutely. It's just
Yeah,
as I do.
Yeah, I've got so much invested in IC that I can't leave. That's the deal. I can't do it. I
yeah.
can't do it. I have over 100 motors. I can't leave. I'm stuck. I'm here.
Hey,
And I'm not changing.
sell
So
2 of
that's
them and
not
you're
to be
set.
mean.
Just sell
No,
2 of them and you're set. You're done.
no, not really. Not really, because there's a lot more costs involved because I have to change everything about my flying, and there's a lot more involved than just the motors and the batteries.
Yeah, no, yeah.
When
The
there's a
charger I
lot more
bought.
involved in it.
Okay, let's
Oh,
look at
come
this.
on. We've done this about a million
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to change my whole flying style. I have to change everything. I don't want to do that. But it's okay. I appreciate what you're doing. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. And I enjoy watching what you're up to. I think it's phenomenal.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Who's got the tagline in their posts on the Stunthanger? Once you add the smoke generator and the noise generator, the plane becomes too heavy.
That's funny.
Love it. That was funny. That is funny.
I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is.
I think Tim Westcott.
Yeah, I find that really hysterical.
Yeah,
that is funny.
It's got electric is the future of old time stunt.
Love it.
Yeah,
That might be Motorman.
Unfortunately, the skill set and the machining that goes on, and all of the manufacturing that goes into creating an IC model engine, it just doesn't. Ultimately, the market's going to determine how it's going to go. And the market's going to say, hey, it's going to be electric. It's not going to be IC anymore. And then when you have your nice collection of all your IC engines, then their value is going to go through the roof because nobody's going to make them anymore.
I am not surprised if that's going to happen. There's a lot of, if you go at the net, so you could probably find what do you think, Charles? 50-50? 50 electric, 50 IC?
Yeah, it's pretty high. There's a lot of electrics out there, no doubt about it. There was too much information for me to take in. I was so excited to be there. I wasn't really paying that attention to that, but there was a lot of electrics out there, a lot of ICs. It's a good mixture. But, on the world stage, it's obviously electric on the world stage.
Yes, definitely.
On the world stage, it's electric.
And basically, as far as from an engineering standpoint, ultimately, what it is it's a lot of us old timers. I mean, I'm talking about old timers who basically there was no electric. We cut our teeth on O&R engines and Fox 35s and McCoy 35s, back in the day. What it is that electric is almost you dial it in. It's a technology just like any other, how would I say, electronics type technology where unfortunately the one deal is the how would I say the prejudicial part of it is that if you have the money to invest in bringing a laptop to the field, programming on site, having knowledge of how to set up an ESC or any of the electronic components, and then writing your own, or not necessarily writing your own code, but adapting it. you will be able to perform better than the guy next door. And ultimately, it's like with a lot of technology, it's an issue of the more money you have to spend and the more money you can invest, the better off you are, typically because you can afford the better technology. With internal combustion, it's always been okay. Yeah, well, you can go out and buy a PA 75 or you can go out and PA 61, but that had to do with somebody's skill at machining a product. And but you still had to turn around and how would I say, balance your fuel, what kind of fuel you're going to run, as it was mentioned before, what kind of glow plug you're going to use, how you're going to needle your engine, how you're going to tack it, how you're going to set the propeller. It was all more or less of not necessarily a science, but almost a combination of an art and a science. Whereas with electric, it's pretty much all science. The algorithms are the algorithms, and either they're going to work or they're not going to work. And the more money you have to be able to input into that technology, the better off you're going to be. So it may not be what we say politically correct, but ultimately that's the way it's going to be. And oh well, but it all boils down in the end to how good a pilot you are. So I guess that does it becomes all moot anyway.
Yeah, but you know what? A lot of that is being taken care of. If you fly electric, most of the people use certain ESCs. Actually, you can probably use anything in reality, and it's nothing secret about or anything like that. It's nothing just overly protective or anything like that. And the timers, the more elaborate timers, that may require a $35 box that you can put it in your toolbox, and you can connect it to your timer and you can reset it on a fill to whatever you want to have. So it's not that expensive, and nobody changes algorithms or nobody really does the programming itself. There's very few people that do that. Okay, and they usually sell the stuff. They are the manufacturers. So so that's what I have to say about that. But for most part, I think it's pretty much uh, just plug and play. A lot of stuff is plug and play. It's nothing. I don't know if Paul Walker does any of this stuff. I don't know if Howard is doing any of this stuff. I really doubt they do it. You know.
I would agree with you, but I mean, if we step back from the people that are trying to compete, in the national level, and I've heard, over the years, many stories of people who have turned around. I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head. Who turned around and just got out of flying control line. Les McDonald. That's the individual. Les McDonald, who designed the stiletto. He turned around and he once. I remember talking to him once. He was working at a hobby shop down in Florida, in Broward County, and and then when I went, me and a buddy went to visit him. He says, "Oh, you've got to come to the flying field. You got to come fly some, fly a couple of laps around the control line circle." And he says, "No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it." We couldn't convince him to come back and fly. And what he told us is that if I go out there and I just get it behind the handle, I'm going to be, it's going to be, I've got to be the absolute best in the world. I cannot turn around and control myself to the point where I can't just go out and fly casually. I can't go out and just fly for fun. I have to be, if I'm not out there being the best that I can do, then I'm not going to go out there. And the reason I'm not going to go out there is because back when I was competing, it ruined my life. I was so involved in competitions that it impacted my marriage, it impacted my social life. I was just so involved in working to win competitions that everything else fell by the wayside. And, comparing that to electric, I am sure at the top levels and people that are so driven to win at a national level that they would pretty much, it's just like anything else that these guys that, Brett Buck and Paul Walker and uh, what's his name with who won the last 5 nationals or national,
Gerald?
Paul Taylor, I believe his name is.
No, Fitzgerald, maybe.
Fitzgerald with the okay, Fitzgerald. They're looking at whatever edge that they can get, and then whether that's with internal combustion or whether that's with electric, that's where they're going to go. And yeah, you can turn around and you can buy uh, ESCs and the programming and everything else to do it, but and maybe this is the wrong thing to be discussing because I don't think any of us are, at least not in my consideration. I'm not even considering going to competitions. But ultimately, at some point, it's going to be, how much you can invest to better whatever you're doing. And it's like anything else. But I would agree with electrics. It's it's basically math. Ultimately, it is math. It is you set it to what you set it at, and it's going to perform that way over and over and over, regardless of atmospheric conditions, regardless of altitude, regardless of anything else, weight of the airplane. What you set that those electronic components to run at, that's what they will run at. And
Exactly. And that's the nice part of them. It's so easy. It's easy. It's so easy. It's borderline boring, right? But when you have a plane that performs with a system that with a motor that runs exactly the same time after time after time, then you have no worries in the whole world. I mean, all you do is just go out, practice, and try to work on the details of your pattern, something like that, whatever those they are. And I find myself right now that I have to work on a lot of details, uh, and it's to me, like you said, you kind of touch on a subject a little bit, and the subject was what makes people tick, right? Bob McDonald loves to compete, right? Some just love to go out and fly a fly streak and have some fun with it, right? And you have everything else in between, and so whatever do you like, whatever you want to have. For me, it's like I really enjoy competing some, right? And I was just tired of having a plane that's not performing. I was tired of having a motor that would quit whenever things were just every time I was trying to do something, the motor would quit on me. Every time I was trying to do something, the plane would just not perform or anything like that. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm done with all this stuff. I really said I'm done with all this stuff. And you know what I did after that? I built an SB12 Intrepid, and I put a 46 VF on it with a tune pipe and a 3-blade prop from Randy Smith and stuff like that. And and guess what? On that plane, within 3 weeks, I learned the whole pattern because the plane would fly, the motor would run, everything is performing, everything. So all I was doing, I was going out, flying, and worry where am I gonna put the plane next? Nothing else. And And actually, about a month later, I went to my first contest in the United States. So this is and actually I went where Charles went, and actually he's got a video of his red Nobler, and I'm not sure the plate is Whittier Marrows or I don't know what the name of the place is.
Whittier Narrows.
Whittier Narrows.
Whittier
Okay.
Narrows.
Yeah. So I went and I flew there. My first contest in the United States, and I flew beginner over there with a tune-pipe shit. Everybody was looking at us like, hey, holy smokes, right? But I was very fresh of just learning the pattern. And I couldn't return on Sunday on competition to fly intermediate because they asked me like, hey, did you know how to fly the whole pattern? And I said, I just learned it like a few weeks ago, right? And I said, I cannot come tomorrow. Let me try my hand. It's my first competition. Let me do beginner, right? And I ate them alive. Have you ever seen a beginner parent who's scoring like 280 points?
That's pretty good.
I mean, that was the beginner pattern, right? and after I finished the beginner pattern, I was having fun with it because I said, let me try to do this other stuff that I just learned. After I landed, the judges come to me, they say, you're done flying this. I have been unceremoniously kicked into the intermediate class, right? But you know what I'm talking about is the value of having a good ship that performs consistently, time after time after time. And something that would fly wherever you want to put it is going to go there, and it's not just going to go there, it's going to stay wherever you put it.
Yeah, that was like the Vector 40 I built. It just would, you pointed it where you wanted it to go, and it would go there.
Yep. Imagine that Vector 40 with a motor that would be bulletproof every single time. And it doesn't matter you are in Colorado or you're in at sea level or anything like that.
Where are you, by the way?
Me?
Yes.
I'm in Georgia.
Oh, you're in Georgia. Okay, you started speaking like you weren't even in the United States.
That's that North Central Georgia accent.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, that's funny.
A transplant.
Yep. Yeah.
I know because I went to college.
I did a accent. It looked like from where you're sitting in a garage that it was in the States, because in Europe or or Eastern Europe, you don't have garages like that. But the accent was kind of throwing me off.
Yeah. Yeah. So right now I'm flying this this plane called Revolutions. If you saw the thread on Stunthangar, it's something. It's something.
Georgia.
Hey, Brian, I did a double take when I first heard you a few years ago, because your voice, I wasn't looking at the TV, and your voice is absolutely identical, your accent, everything, to a student of mine who was from Romania. So I thought, what the hell's Tudor there?
I was with a bunch of control liners at a gathering in January, and somebody was talking to me about watching the show, and he said, "Oh yeah, what about? I like that Russian guy." And I said, "Okay, yeah, he's talking about Brian." I straightened him out.
Mm-hmm. Yes, go Russia. Yeah. When you guys don't know this, but when I made this plane, I made it so that I can make parts that are interchangeable. So I had several qualifications that I wanted to go. First of all, it's a composite construction. Everything is composite inside of it. I don't think if I have 10, I think if I say 10 square inches of balsa in it, 1/16th, I think that's a lot. So that's a conservative, uh, you know, estimate. The rest is all machine parts. Uh, Everything is it's very very unique. Um, I really did walk away from everything that I knew about control line planes when I did this. I kind of went on a limb a little bit. I said,
It's the
"Do or
most
die kind of
innovative
thing."
work I've ever seen. I gotta tell you that it is the most innovative work I've seen in control line.
Me
Yeah.
too.
And the way it flies, oh my God. The way it flies is just, and get this, I flew pretty much my weapon of choice was the Randy Smith Billy Warwick design Intrepid or Intrepid XL, right? And you know the Randy Smith designs. The Vector is one example of that, right?
Yeah.
So those are serious planes, right? And I was flying that with the Rojet 65 or a PA or a OS Max 46 VF. I mean, these are not. I mean, these are serious power plants, serious planes, right? I want to tell you, this plane, they don't hold a candle to this plane. Is this how good it is? You know.
Somebody can, of course, it's your creation and it's going to be pretty much better than everybody else's. And we're not going to get into the,
Of course, yeah. I realize I sound biased.
Ultimately, Randy's vectors and Whitney's Strega and all these and Bob Hunt's Genesis have all proven their worth through many competitions. So we're not going to get into a pissing contest in that perspective. My question is, you're not a youngster. I mean, and it's kind of surprising that anybody gets involved in control line rather than RC. I mean, you're not a youngster. What got you into model aviation? What sparked you to say, I'm going to get into model aviation and I'm going to get into control line model aviation? Because I know I'm the age where there was nothing else at the time when I got involved in it. RC was basically still, the servos were escapement servos, and basically almost a free flight model when I first got started in it. But you're a bit younger than I am, so I'm just curious.
Well, I was first of all, when I was born, I grew up in my grandmother's house, and she was on the final approach to the airport into the city. So every 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes, sometimes you see an airplane coming in for a landing. Being configured for landing, landing gear down, flaps down, and all the stuff. And coming in for a landing. So I grew up playing over there, and the plane would fly by. I would just look up and just watch them, right? So that's that. I think this is the number one thing that kind of drove me. And then I started to build some of those plastic models, the scale models.
This wasn't in the United States, was it? Because your accent is still a little bit too.
This was at home. This was back in Romania.
Okay.
And in Romania, the only thing you could buy for model airplanes was some free flight gliders.
Yes.
They give you a set of ribs and some spars and some couple of sticks for a fuselage and an elevator and stuff like that. And I start to build and fly those. And my uncle actually showed me how to bend spruce wood using heat and water, like you soak it down and you put it around and you heat it and you curve it around. And we use that to make wings with it. So we have some airfoil to them. So that's how I got started, and then I built those free flight models, and then I went to a club in the city, and every the way it was set up back then, it was the communist time, right?
Yeah.
You could do all of this stuff in what was called the Pioneers Club, right? And I was in an aero modeling branch of the Pioneers Club, and my instructor told me, I said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, he said, first of all, he said, "Well, I cannot get you as a beginner. I have to get you as an advanced because beginners are." I was too old at the time. I think I was 16, I think maybe 17, and so I was kind of bored of the stuff that I was building all the time. So I said, I want to do something new. I want to do some real stuff. And you had no remote controls in the market. There were no motors in the market. All you could find is quarter-inch by quarter-inch spruce wood sticks, and so I started to go to this club because they had the stuff, right? So he asked me, what do I want to do? I said, I want to do RC. I said, he goes like, okay, but you need to learn control line too, because I want you to train the guys. So what happened is the guy, he was flying in reverse, like Rusty does. Down is up and up is down, and everything else was messed up in between, right? So he wanted to have somebody that knew how to fly correctly, and because I was younger and smaller in size, I could train the little guys too easier, right? So that's kind of what happened. I built my first plane, which, guess what? It was an electric plane.
Oh, okay.
And this was in 1987.
Wow.
Get this, 1987. So the electric plane, basically what it was a piece of spruce wood, which was about 3/16 by ½ inch wide, and we glue an elevator on the backside of elevator out balsa, which was about 1/16 of an inch thickness, and we put some cloth hinges on it and a control horn. And the wing was a 1/8 inch piece of balsa wood that was glued on top of this stick. So the idea is that we hold the batteries in our hand. I had the long PVC tube with big, what was that? The A size batteries, right? Or no, not the A. I think it was the D size. The D cells.
The D cells.
Yeah, the D cells that are about this big, like more than 2 fingers wide, right?
Yes.
Are those the D cells?
Yeah, that's D cell.
Okay, so I think I have about 6 of those in this tube, and we took one of those electric motors and we took the windings out of the motor. So the power will go from the batteries through a switch to my handle, go through the lines into the bell crank, and then from the bell crank to the motor. So I had like a switch on my handle, on off kind of thing, boom, and it was flying nicely and stuff like that. I think I used about maybe 5 meters worth of lines, no more than that. And this is how I learned how to fly, just fly a level flight, and
that's wonderful.
Yeah, and so that was that. We had the balsa propeller that we carve out with our hands, right? On the motor in the front, we took a screw and we drill it through the center of it, and we solder it to the motor itself, and put a washer, the propeller, and a nut on the other side. That was the plane. So I learned how to do that. So yeah, I learned how to do that, and then I started to go to. I was training the other guys. I went to the nationals as a instructor for our club, and after that, it's just he left to go back home, and I was kind of on my own. And I started to hook up with other people that were doing this stuff, and uh, I never had good equipment, and balsa over there in Romania was, oh my God, if you have a balsa plane over there, everybody would just give you the halo. It doesn't matter if it's a 15-pound balsa to them, but it was a balsa plane. Everybody go like, holy shit, you got a balsa plane? Are you kidding me? It was something, right? So I mean, it's like you learn to make do with stuff and make a whip out of shit, and it goes bangs on top of it, kind of thing, right? So if you think about it, like we had foam, we had this 4-inch by 4-inch spruce sticks, and some 1/8-inch plywood. If you are lucky, you could probably find something thinner than that, and it's kind of a light plywood, but it wasn't really light. It was pretty heavy stuff, right? So that's what we had to work with. So we learned how to make stuff with that thing, and we actually made planes with that stuff, and they were flying. Believe it or not. We would put the 4-inch sticks and dress it with some foam around, shape the foam in a shape of a fuselage. We used to go to the grocery store and get the wrapping paper from over there and do exactly put this wrapping paper with water and white glue, and then we lay it on top of the foam, which gave it some stiffness. We made the combat style wings with the leading edge out of foam and this wrapping paper on top of it, and we used the spruce wood to make spars for it on top and the bottom of the foam. We would make 2-3 ribs like on a combat wing out of those 1/8-inch plywood, and put another 1/4-inch stick on the back of the trailing edge, and we would make foam flaps the same way with foam, spruce wood, and paper. I mean, we made it happen, and then we flew those planes. Didn't fly very well. If and usually the people that have friends overseas that were sending them motors or wood or stuff like that, they usually have planes that actually flew the pattern, and if you could fly a whole pattern, you probably win the contest. So that was how things were going on, right? So when I came in the United States, I went in the Air Force, and when I was in the Air Force, I said, you know what, I want to build up on a control line plane. So I built up my dream plane, which was a plane made with balsa wood, obviously. But the plane wasn't that good in design because the nose was very weak, and I think the whole plane was pretty good. But if the nose was more rigid and I got better engine run, I'd be much happier with it. But that's when I said, I'm tired of this, and I said I'm gonna get me a good plane, right? So that's the other story that I was talking to you about. And I made the jump from a plane that was less than a twister to a top of the line, best of the everything that was being offered at the time.
Yeah, as I was going to say, and now you're working in carbon fiber composites. Who would have thought? And I can relate to your story because my dad. I was born in Hungary. I came over when I was 5 years old. My dad was old school, and when you talked about having foam and basically crafting a model out of foam and then putting some spruce in there to make it stiffer. My dad did that when I was younger. When he because my dad was the builder. My dad was a scratch builder. He wanted to build something. He started out when he came over to the United States building plastic models. And then he said, I want to see them fly. Except my father would never fly. He would always get into a circle and get too dizzy, and he wouldn't be able to keep the plane. He wouldn't be able to stand upright. So he would be the scratch builder, and then I would be the pilot. So I can relate to your entire story about you did not have the advantages of being able to go to a store and picking out balsa or picking out this or picking out that. And my father was the same way, except he came to the United States and he had those luxuries, but it was like it was almost that he didn't realize he had those luxuries. He would turn around and he would go out and go to not Home Depot at the time, but where he would find refuse, styrofoam, white styrofoam refuse that other people had thrown out, and he'd bring blocks of this home, and then he wanted to make a scale model of an Fu-4 Phantom jet. So he would carve pretty much the whole thing out of this white foam, put in the spruce bar, put in the spruce reinforcement, and go for it. And so it's mainly the reason I asked you the question is where you're from, what your beginnings were, because it sounded like that you were in that environment. And like I said, my father and my parents came over from Hungary back during the Hungarian Revolution, which was 1957, and he was a photographer by trade, and he had to pretty much rebuild his life, but he was always fascinated by aviation. He used to tell me stories when I was a kid about how he came over from Europe on an airplane and how the engines sounded and how the lights blinked and how the windows came on and what the pilot said. And it just turned around and just rubbed off on me, except I never had the skills my dad had. Um, and I believe that you were on the chat when I opened up the magazine and I showed the B-58 bomber that my dad scratch built. That's this kind of thing that basically he did. He didn't follow any plans. He made his own.
Yeah, it's amazing how much you're gonna learn from necessity. It's okay. I have to do this. It's like a junkyard wars. Seriously,
Yes.
it's junkyard wars. Seriously, and you go over there, try to make the junk fly, and try to do a pattern with it. I mean, it was something.
Yeah, my dad said the same thing because he didn't have the luxury back in those days to have a hobby. His basically his life's profession was photography, and he said, we couldn't get film. We had to improvise to do an to make enlargements in a photograph. We had to get tin cans and cut a hole in the bottom, and put a lens in it, so we could turn around and make enlargements of photographs that we took with rudimentary cameras. And it was a tough time, but I guess the necessity of having to improvise and having to be able to think outside the box sort of, I guess, rubbed off on you and certainly rubbed off on me.
Yeah, yeah, it's yeah. Ever since I got a good plane, I never looked back. Never ever looked back. I never flew anything less of a quality than that, because I was
Hey,
just
let me interrupt for a
thirsty
second.
for it. I mean, it's like you fly junk all your life, and you go like, man. Go ahead, Rusty.
I was just going to say, everybody all at once say, "Hey, Lynn, wake up."
Hey, Lynn,
One,
wake up.
two,
Wake
Hey,
three.
up.
Lynn,
Hey,
wake
Lynn,
up!
wake
Wake
up.
up, man.
Lynn,
Wake
Lynn,
up,
Lynn.
Lynn! Good
Wake up,
morning,
Lynn.
Lynn! Sleep
Hey, hey,
there!
wake up.
We put him to sleep.
What were you
Yeah.
dreaming about, Lynn?
I bored him
I
to
don't
death.
know.
I put him to sleep.
Yes. Oh, I don't know. I'm just tired. I think I'm gonna. I
all
think
this
I'm gonna
talk.
hang it up for good for tonight.
Jeff Riley
I
over
missed
on
too much of
YouTube
it.
noticed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hang it up for tonight. It's getting late. I don't want to have to sleep too late and burn up too much of my Saturday. So y'all can
Yeah,
stay
that
and
happened.
talk as long as you want, but I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye to all the YouTubers and turn it over to y'all. Okay. So all you guys out there on the tube, y'all had a great conversation going tonight. It was really rocking over there after somebody complained about it being dead, and so Jeff Riley said, "Well, it doesn't have to be dead," and it went off like a bomb ever since then. They've been roaring so fast I could hardly read it line by line. So glad y'all had a good time on the tube, and everybody, don't forget the super chat box down at the bottom if y'all want to send us a nickel. And fair winds, tight lines, and we'll see y'all next week. As for you guys with your cameras and mics, hey, y'all are welcome to hang out as long as you want to. But I'm gonna stop the live feed right now, so you'll hear that in just a minute when I stop the live stream. 3, 2, 1, stop live stream. And the lady ought to talk in just a second.